The 100th season of Falmouth.
Swing and a miss. Strike three call. That's a fair ball down the line. The Doors are gonna score. That ball is way gone.
And it all starts right now.
A probable playoff matchup between these two is right around the
seeding and all that. That's something that we'll learn more about as each game continues on. But as you mentioned, it's a pretty almost certain first round preview we have here tonight from the go.
couple of teams that have been playing really well, and a big part of that for Falmouth, including last night, is Gavin Turley.
Gavin Turley, I mean, what else can you say about him? Was a double shy of the cycle. Look at him there point at himself. He knows he's on camera. My goodness, the freshman has certainly come along. It's taken some time, but he has just exploded on the scene the last 2.5 or so weeks for Falmouth right now. The average has shot up. It's up to 234 right now. It's tough to say that. I'm just so happy to see this guy swing the bat because he was struggling for a while. The numbers yesterday were off the charts, and he continues to roll. He'll be in that 5 spot in the order.
The talent shows it, and it's shown it all year for Gavin Turley at Oregon State, and now picking it up here with the Doors. On the flip side, looking at what we've got for the Harbor Hawks, it's a guy that hasn't been here all summer but put up outstanding numbers at VCU, Brandon Ike.
Brandon Ike's good. Really, really good numbers. 346 average this year for the Rams there at VCU. 11 bombs, 71 driven in. You mentioned he hasn't been here that long. This is only going to be game number 8 for him, and had a little slump here recently, 3 scoreless, or rather hitless efforts from him. But prior to that, jumping onto the scene 4 games in a row with hits. 3 of those efforts were multi-hit efforts. He's going to be in the 3 spot in the order. Ike's taking over at third base, giving Cam Smith a day off, that big bat that always has Falmouth's number. But tonight, no doubt about it, you got to keep an eye on Ike.
We're going to get to lineups and first pitch in just a minute, but before we do, we're going to send it down to the third member of our team, Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. Hyannis is here at Guff Fuller Field for the 6th game between these two teams this season, which, with the way the past week has gone, it's probably not the last time these two teams will see each other. As of now, Falmouth will face Hyannis in the first round of the playoffs as long as everything stays the way it is. Falmouth has struggled against Hyannis here and there, but picked up steam earlier in July. And last night's win against Bourne puts Falmouth in a good spot to keep the 3rd seed going into the Western Division playoffs on Friday. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Destiny. Going to have some interesting matchups, but that win last night, Matt, was really big for Falmouth, as Destiny mentioned, to kind of solidify that spot over Bourne.
I mean, it's pretty certain now. I mean, you're sitting 5 points ahead of Bourne with 3 games left to go. A win at any point over the next 3 games kind of clinches you a spot better than the 4th seed, but you still have to keep an eye on the Harbor Hawks because right now they're still, you know, they're 5 points back out of first. So it's just still very weird when you only have, 10 teams in a league and 5 in that round 1.
And Falmouth entering today sitting at 46 points. You mentioned the West being loaded. The East on the other side, first place in the East is 47 points in YD.
Which, by the way, the Doors have played relatively well. You did pick up a win against YD at home earlier this season. Also worked a tie. That's way long into our, couple weeks into August. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, it's a tough inning, and it'll be interesting to see the rest of the way.
Now the Doors getting set to take on the Harbor Hawks. We're going to send it over to the field. The PA announcer, Brennan Capozzi, for the national anthem.
Trained in America and abroad. She has had a 40-year career as an opera and concert soloist in 8 languages all over Europe and in China. Virginia now resides in Falmouth and is proud to represent the USA and the Falmouth newcomers tonight.
Is that on? Okay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, for the land
Susan Gilbert. She has been a member since 2017 and recently completed her leadership role as president. Folks, the moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. Let's hear it for the newcomers as they get ready to shout those famous words we love to hear. Take it away.
Here we tonight, but a pretty good lineup nonetheless. We talked about Brandon Ike. The rest of the way, you got a pretty good looking lineup there with some names that we've seen before.
They're going to have a tough matchup in a Cowboy. Evan O'Toole taking the mound for Falmouth.
Yeah, Evan O'Toole will get a good opportunity here. We saw him last time against Brewster and struggled with walks early on in that ball game and was ultimately pulled after just 3 2/3 innings. Only gave up 2 runs on 6 hits, but outside of that, I've really liked his stuff and what he's brought in for the Doors out of Oklahoma State. And you see the numbers there up to this point in the summer. He's a pretty consistent.
Puts the ball in play, but if you can keep them from getting pitches over the zone and can keep your control, that's going to be your best shot at slowing down a very good Harbor Hawks lineup.
Yeah, and the Doors have seen it firsthand. I mean, they have been at unfortunately, the receiving end in recent matchups. Obviously, you had the win last time out, but
in there, Cade Clemens over at third base making his Gov Fuller Field debut, and then Caleb Hall has been here a little bit, but he's still one of the newer faces in this lineup.
Yeah, Cade Clemens will be cool because he came in as a defensive replacement in third for Sean Darnell last night in that 7th inning, and actually got it at bat. Came up to hit, had a base hit up the middle. It was part of a 16-hit effort for the Doors. My goodness, it was just continuously the line was moving yesterday. That seems to be a theme for this group, just finding ways to get hits. And no surprise, the Doors all the way up to number 1 now in the Cape League in hits.
They've been swinging it well, but Hyannis right up there in a lot of those categories too. Pretty much first, second, or third in almost every offensive category on the Cape. These guys swing it well.
They don't hit home runs, though.
No, they
Down
don't.
to 8 in the Cape League in that statistic, but that's okay.
Earhard started the season ice cold for Hyannis, but has really gotten hot as we've gotten into the meat of the season down the stretch in July. Leadoff man's aboard.
I mean, that's just a rocket off the bat. I mean, we're waiting for our track man to get up here and ready to go, but that's a tough play for Michael Eze. I mean, he's had to reach that on the
Ball came out of the bullpen. Caused a quick delay. It's James Fonseca behind the plate calling for time. J.C. Fernandez is down the third baseline, although right now he's out in the field with that base runner on. First baseline is William Bowers for tonight's contest.
Zach, we saw J.C. Fernandez yesterday behind the plate at Doran Park.
He got to see firsthand what that Falmouth offense can do. 9 runs on 16 hits against the Braves. Lipsy tried to keep that one fair down the line.
But Zach, going back to our nugget about O'Toole and pitching to contact, I mean, that was a sharp piece. That's not entirely what you mean when you say a pitcher pitching to contact. I mean, they'll use their off-speed pitches, breaking stuff to get certain results in the box. Slow rollers.
Just pulling it foul again. Lipsy working a good battle. Far in the summer, 19 strikeouts, 13 walks for him. 261 average and a Cape League All-Star appearance for Mr. Lipsy. Big lead over at first. Toole drops in that changeup. He's got 4 different pitches he'll go to. The sinker, the 4-seam, the slider, and the change. You'll see a lot of sinker slider change from him for the most part, but he does have that 4-seam pitch that he'll mix in as well. It's ahead 1-2. Now it's 3-2. This is something we saw a lot in that outing against Brewster. The Whitecaps working him really well Brewster in that game stranded 15 runners on base.
Yeah, the Doors won by 5, but that was because of a late effort in the 9th, putting up 4 runs. That game was a lot closer than a 5-run win for the Doors.
Runner takes off, and that decision will take the double play away. A smart one there by the Harbor Hawks to put Earhart in motion. And so effectively a sacrifice there on that ground out as Lipsy is retired, but moves up that runner into scoring position.
You immediately see the type of gamer that Travis Bazzana is. His first move there when he fields that baseball is a quick look to second. Why? Because he's always trying to get the lead runner even if it's a close play. But even two, he knows he has time. That ball got to him rather quickly, and one quick look to see what he's got, and then he's still able to deliver and get the first out.
Now Brandon Ike takes a slider upstairs. Start off his AB. Sporting number 11 today. Normally number 5 in the lineup for the Harbor Hawks, but rocking the sticks tonight. He's ahead 2-0.
Yeah, it's not ideal as a pitch-to-contact pitcher to fall behind in counts, because not only do you give up hits in general or give up hard contact, you limit your options in terms of what you're going to be able to throw.
Chopper off the foot of Ike. That's a good pitch on 2-0, gets you back into the count. Ike joined this team late, but unlike some of the guys that have joined, he's used to swinging with wood. He's been doing it all summer long, similar to a couple of the players recently picked up by the Commodores that we'll talk about later. But Ike was hitting .398 in the Coastal Plain League, 9 home runs, a .450 on-base percentage this season. He's really lighting it up. Just inside, try to go front door with the breaking ball, and it's another hitter's count, 3-1 to Ike.
It's something you don't think about too often, but in those smaller summer leagues, if guys play, really well, the scouts here will find him. They'll bring him up here, and Ike, a prime example of that.
Good pitch on the 3-1, biting away from Ike, and O'Toole's battled back full. Big at bat early in this first inning. Earhart on second after the error. Popped up. McGregor makes the grab in foul territory for out number 2. Went right back to that same pitch that he went on 3-1 in that 3-2.
Yeah, got a good result. Get a pop-up there just off the infield. Tyler McGregor's had a ton of pop-outs over there just because of how his pitchers have helped out in the innings and getting guys jammed, and that's a result you're looking for. But now you got to take care of Brody Donay here, try to strand Earhart standing at second.
Donay has found himself with 3 hits in the 4 meetings that he's played in between these two sides. All of them doubles. Falmouth trying to keep him out of the hit column in this at-bat and get a 0 up on the board in the top of the first. Future Florida Gator in the box and another Florida Gator catcher behind the plate.
That's right. Those two got to catch up a little bit after the last matchup here at the Gov, that win for Falmouth.
Donay hits one to deep center. It's carrying. Tracy looking for it, and it's gone. Brody Donay gets one up in the jet stream, and the wind carries it out. 2-0 Hyannis.
Makes you right out of the gate.
An early lead for Hyannis. Will Taylor trying to build on it. This is where the Harbor Hawks have really gotten Falmouth on the season, is with early runs. O'Toole couldn't find the zone at the knees. Taylor ahead 2-1. High chopper to third. Clemens gets his first ground ball in Falmouth, and he retires Taylor for out number 3. But Brody Donay puts the Harbor Hawks on the scoreboard, a 2-run shot. Falmouth needs a response on the other side of the break.
The Falmouth Commodores have been part of the heartbeat of Falmouth since 1923. Thousands of fans flock to Gov Fuller Field each season to see future Major League ball players working to reach their dreams. All of this wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. As a nonprofit volunteer organization, the Commodores raise funds to cover operational costs. fans support the local businesses who back the Commodores. It's what community is all about. There are so many ways we incorporate our sponsors into the fun, whether it be banners, print ads in our program, mentions on public address and broadcast, as well as in-game experiences. So however you support the Falmouth Commodores, we thank you.
Commodores with an early deficit, trying to bounce back. Here's the lineup for Jeff Trundy's squad, highlighted as always by Travis Bazzana.
That it is. Bazzana yesterday, a two-hit effort for him, but it was the other Beaver that really stole the show, as we talked about. 5 runs driven in, was a double shy of the cycle. Gavin Turley has moved his way up in the order, and right now, I mean, you look at all the other bats in this order, Gavin Turley is jumping off the page. But everywhere else, you like what you see Michael Eze back in that 6th spot, and Cade Clemens, 1 for 1 since getting into the action yesterday. He makes his official first start here for the Doors.
You'd like a quick start for Falmouth to try and bounce back. They're going to have to do it against the tough arm, though, Matt, in Hayden Frank.
The Doors have seen Hayden Frank out of Lipscomb. He brings it there from the left side. The numbers look like that. The Doors saw him in that 10-2 win that Hyannis had a couple of weeks ago. He went 4 innings, gave up 7 hits, but struck out 6 against just 1 run. So he's got some consistency against this order, even though there's some new faces. And you know, the Doors now have more righties available to them, so you like that aspect compared to the last time that they saw Hayden Frank. But nonetheless, he brings it. You can see the strikeouts there. The Doors are going to have to put the ball in play against him, and that's tough to do.
It'll start with Caleb Hall. Utility player out of North Greenville. Has been really, really good since joining this Falmouth squad. First pitch swinging, can't keep it in play. It's 0-1. 363 average, 8 for 22 for Hall. Another one of those guys that came from a different collegiate league where he was really, really good, now gets his shot on the Cape.
And every day has gotten better. I mean, the 4-hit effort he had in the debut was great, but not the hardest hit contact. He's hit a lot of line drives now recently, like that.
There's a line drive out to deep center, but it's not going to have enough. Lipsy runs it down at the wall for out number 1. We get a look at the rest of the Harbor Hawks defense around Trey Lipsy out in center. Will Taylor and Zach Earhart, the outfielders. Some familiar faces the rest of the way.
That it is. The corner outfield's where I want to highlight. You got some good arms in Will Taylor and Zach Earhart out there. Got to be careful with a lot of speed in Falmouth when those guys get the ball when rounding the bases. But everywhere else, as you mentioned, pretty familiar with Big Brody Done catching the balls and strikes.
Big bender for a called strike to start off Bazzana. All the way up to 376 on the average. Good for second in the Cape League. Takes outside, evens it up. Sydney native has been outstanding all year long. It's a high chopper towards second. Eric Snow's going to have to get rid of it quickly, and does. Good start for Hayden Frank, and the Harbor Hawks seeming to find themselves where they've found themselves quite a bit over the last month, Matt, in control.
You could say that again. There's a reason this team's number 1 in the power rankings, but guess what? The Doors are in number 2 spot. They're right behind them and will make for a firepower first-round matchup. It seems like it's all but inevitable that will be the case, and that's where we'll probably be on Friday, Zach, in Game 1 of the first-round playoffs.
Walker Yannick takes a called strike to start off his AB. He's been pretty good over the last week or so. Got the average up around 270. High fly ball to left. It's not going to carry enough. Taylor's back at the track, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. The Doors get some solid contact, but nothing against Hayden Frank. Hyannis in front 2-0 as we head to the second on the Commodores Baseball Network.
You could have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Evan O'Toole back to the bump, gave up the 2-run homer, both unearned runs, but they still count on the scoreboard, trying to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned pitching to contact. No strikeouts in that inning to get out of it, but a pair of ground balls and obviously that pop out by Tyler McGregor. You just got to flush it and get back to it. We know the Doors are capable, but this order is no joke with what the Harbor Hawks have and the reason they've really turned this thing around and have been in second place in this division, Zach, for quite some time. No one really thought Katuitt was ever going to be caught, and it still kind of appears that may come true. But the Harbor Hawks have made it so that Katuitt has not yet clinched at all, given the great season they've had.
That is the statement we sit in, but Katuitt a couple outs away from doing just that at Brewster right now. The 5-4 lead. Bennett Thompson steps in. 6-7-8 for Hyannis. Thompson, Snow, and Alex Lane. Oregon Duck at the plate in Thompson. He made his debut for the Harbor Hawks a week ago, the last time that Hyannis was at the Gov. And he's quickly ahead 3-0. For a guy that doesn't walk many batters, O'Toole is once again falling behind quite a few.
And a pretty good bat here, too. That's not the worst case in the world, but you do want to limit all that.
4 pitches, 4 balls, and the leadoff man aboard once again for Hyannis. Not a recipe for success against a lineup as good as this. Eric Snow now steps up.
And Bennett Thompson in that game, 1 for 5 in his debut against the Doors. As you just mentioned there, Zach, and now you have to contend with his speed.
Eric Snow starts out ahead in the count. He's got quite a bit of extra base pop in his bat, or at least he did at South Florida. 11 doubles, a triple, and 6 homers. He's got good speed in the box as well. Going to be tough to double up. In high school down in Georgia, set the high school national record with 18 triples in his junior season. This one won't be a triple. It'll be a line out to third. Right at Cade Clemens, who's once again getting in on the action early.
Yeah, I can say that again. I mean, Cade Clemens, that 4 a.m. flight yesterday, got in on the action. Still don't know the entire reason for that. Maybe just to see if, with the big lead, to just get an opportunity there to see what it's like. But now getting that start over there at third.
And now Alex Lane. This is his 3rd appearance against the Doors, also the 3rd start. Pair of hits each of the first 2 starts against Falmouth. 2 for 3 days with doubles in both. Thompson still creeping off that bag over at first. Bluffs the steal. But O'Toole finds the zone.
That's important. Good to see him work ahead now, especially where you already have to work with a base runner once again with 2 already home.
Alex Lane was all conference this year in the CAA for Northeastern. He's been all conference in 2 different conferences now in his career. Was with Bryant in the NEC before heading over to play with the Huskies. And the Commodores' first baseman, Tyler McGregor, there as well. A couple of guys that hit a lot of long balls for Northeastern.
You could say that again. I mean, he had 15 of them this year. McGregor himself had the pop. I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, you got to have the big power numbers, and these 2 guys making their way from smaller conferences to really kind of anchor the lineup.
Hits one right back off of Heyman. He'll take a second, get himself going. Top 2 on the team in home runs between Lane and McGregor. 18 of them for Tyler McGregor and 15 for Alex Lane.
That works. And, you know, you can have the ability, obviously, to play the designated hitter role in, you know, collegiate ball. And that's great. If you got your 2 first basemen like that, each of you can give each other a day off but keep both bats in the lineup. I mean, my goodness, what that does for a school and for a lineup. And the Huskies had that this year.
Carried them all the way to a regional appearance this year. Unable to make it out of that Winston-Salem region, but got themselves a chance to the dance. Lane fouls off another. He's continuing to fight here against Evan O'Toole. Thompson's been continuing to increase that lead, Matt, over at first base. Yet to take off, though. Lane just wants to keep seeing pitches.
That he does, just getting on top of him there a little bit, but just keep fighting. And O'Toole trying to find a put-away pitch here, or at least anything to help him get out of the inning.
Another 2-2. This time it's on the ground in play. 6-4-3. The Doors twist it to retire the side. Evan O'Toole with a bounce back 0. Falmouth bats hoping to find something to get back into it. But before we head to the break, Destiny Sanchez has a message from Cape Cod Healthcare.
Thanks, guys. Cape Cod Healthcare is proud to be the official healthcare sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. And with 6 convenient urgent care centers across Cape Cod from Falmouth to Orleans, we're ready to treat a wide variety of minor illnesses and injuries so you can get back to your regularly scheduled summer plans quickly. Open daily with no appointment needed and staffed by board-certified ER providers. View wait times at Cape Cod Healthcare Urgent Care, minor emergencies, major attention. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Evan O'Toole got a bounce back 0 in the top of the second. Falmouth's offense trying to put up a number other than 0 here in the bottom half.
Yeah, we talked about the big power first basemen at Northeastern. You saw Alex Lane ground out. McGregor now has a chance for his first time.
And he'll sky one out to shallow right. A lot of guys calling for it. Eric Snow will make the grab. McGregor doesn't put up the same fight that Lane does, but either way, they're both retired.
Yeah, I got a fastball pretty much at the letters, top shelf, 89 on the gun. But anytime this guy steps in, you always like your chances at working long at bats, and when he finds a pitch, Zach, he doesn't miss them.
And Turley with a 3-hit night yesterday, including the home run and the triple. Smart job there by Frank to start him with the changeup and get ahead. Turley continuing to work those good ABs. He's got the average all the way up to 234 after that 0 for 27 start to the summer. The 2 strikes, both changeups from Frank. We'll see if he tries to go to it a third time against Turley.
Yes,
put him away.
Heavy dose of the changeup here, to no surprise, but just haven't seen this many against a certain bat up until now, Gavin Turley.
Tried it for the third time away. Seeing if Turley would chase for it, but lays off it. Another 2-2. Big shift against him as well. 3 on the left side of the infield. You mentioned a long at bat. It's 3-2.
Now he hasn't made contact. You know, had a wave and a miss, and then, you know, the fastball up, that changeup off the plate. That time another fastball up. You got to be careful when you work against him.
And he'll be so careful that Turley works a walk. Tried to go to the breaking ball for the first time of the at-bat. And Turley trots on down to first. Michael Eze comes up. The last time that we were at Gov Fuller Field back on Saturday, Gavin Turley worked 4 walks in that game against the Gatemen. Just finds his way on base.
Had a strikeout sandwiched in between there, but I mean, that was really the only time we saw him actually work an effort there to try to get a knock. But you know, you got to be careful against those power bats. But the Gatemen in particular were pretty careful in a game where they walked 10. They struggled, that pitching staff, that night.
And with that walk, that puts the on-base percentage for Turley over 400 on the summer. And finding his way on base again and again. Eze wants that one back. Got a fastball over the heart of the plate. Sent it straight back. He's been good, had a lot of good swings since his return to the Falmouth lineup a couple of days ago against Katuitt. Again upstairs. Michael Eze working ahead in the count. The new guy, Cade Clemens, is on deck. (3-1) to Eze.
Well, the Harbor Hawks, you know, you're seeing a much more careful approach here. You're seeing a lot of fastballs, but not in hittable spots, not even kind of contestable for that matter. They're just way up, and changeups off the plate here. Now you have to attack because you're behind, and you do it again.
Back-to-back walks. Falmouth in business in the bottom of the second, trying to get at least one of those runs back. Donne going to try and calm down Hayden Frank.
And I don't really know if it's that's the plan. I mean, that's why Brody Donne is going out there to talk. I mean, you can survive that against Gavin Turley, but you know, Michael Eze did have a breakout game since first arriving back, but definitely not the same kind of carefulness you want to work against that kind of a bat. So you set up an opportunity now where, look, you got that first out, but now trouble, and Cade Clemens here. Talk about making your debut here after getting a swing yesterday. You got a big spot here in the second inning.
Big power bat, 18 home runs for Pittsburgh State this season. Sends a wake-up call to the Bat Kids by the Falmouth dugout. Clemens, .335 average, 13 doubles, 18 homers. Outstanding year at Pittsburgh State. Started his career in college at Wichita State. Curveball bounces away from Donne. Turley got a good read on it. He'll move up, so they're on the corners. It was a smart decision by Eze to not go after he didn't get a good jump. We've seen a couple of times this year, Matt, where guys have tried to go to second because the guy from second went to third on a ball like that, and the catcher guns him out.
And especially all-star Brody Donne. You don't want to test that arm if you don't need to.
Chopper on the right side, might be trouble. Clemens going to try to beat it out. He can't. A double play takes the run off the board, and the threat ends just like that in the second. 2-0 Harbor Hawks after 2 from the Gov on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones
It's a beautiful night for baseball once again. We've had a stretch of great weather here at the Gov. Some sun out, a couple of clouds in there as well. 75 degrees, and that breeze makes it feel really nice, Matt.
Yeah, it's blowing out to left center just a little bit, and with all these right-handed bats now in the Doors order, time to catch a jet stream or two. Just get one up into the air. But more importantly, if you're Evan O'Toole, you found that zero. You bounce back after that tough inning, but nonetheless, you get 9-1-2, and they're right back up for you. So you need to find a better way through that second half, because you know the Doors bats are going to wake up, but you don't want to make it an ugly number to chase when you begin that second time through the order for Falmouth.
Falmouth had a chance in the bottom half. That second inning, just unable to get any across. Both teams with a double play ball to end their halves of the second. And so it's Heinlein now getting his first look at Evan O'Toole. Honorable mention, all conference in the Pac-12 with Washington State. Good couple of seasons with the Cougars, and now headed across the same conference to play with Bazana and Turley at Oregon State. That was a big swing on a 2-0 fastball down. It's coming up empty on it.
Those neighboring Pac-12 states in Washington and Oregon. Saw Travis Bazana have a word with him when the Harbor Hawks got off the bus and arrived here, but that could be a scary middle infield combination between those two guys.
It's going to be a really good Oregon State team overall. Heinlein unable to get anything on that one. O'Toole picks up his first strikeout of the outing and the first out at the top of the third.
Really good way to attack there. He goes fastball low and away, makes Heinlein. He's not the tallest guy in the world, so I think you have more of a strike zone to kind of work with down low. You know, those pitches up high that might work against some other big bats aren't going to be called for strikes against a guy like him. So when you attack low with the fastball, sometimes you get some good swing and misses, and that's what you saw right there.
Now the second time Zach Earhart comes up, he hit a hard ground ball to short. Bounced off the glove of Eze and into left field. That was an error. It kept the inning alive for a fourth man of the inning, Brody Donay, who hit the home run to center.
That's the trouble. And an error between the next two guys to come up would allow Donay to get another chance. In this inning, you don't want to see Donay this inning. You know, you need to take care of business here and not have a repeat. But good way to find the zone back again with that fastball.
O'Toole slightly behind Zach Earhart. His brother Drew is an assistant coach with the Harbor Hawks this summer. A couple of Earharts in that blue and orange. Line drive to center. That's going to drop in front of Tab Tracy. Earhart stays hot. Picks up a single. One out base runner for Hyannis.
Zach Earhart all over that one. 95 off the bat. It's a fastball middle. That's been the problem that we've noticed with O'Toole. Again, it's okay to pitch to contact, but you need to still hit your spots and limit, you know, the exit velo in terms of these pieces that are being hit right now by Hyannis. And right there, just a second hit that O'Toole's given up, but there's been some hard hit fly balls, and obviously the one that went over the fence.
Runner going on the first pitch. Heyman doesn't get it cleanly out of the glove, and easily in with a stolen bag is Earhart.
Yeah, that's just on the transfer. You know, you're ready to gun and pop is what they call it there behind the plate. And, you know, you got to bring that ball quickly out of your glove to your ear. And if you don't get it cleanly on the first go, it looks like a double pump. And sometimes that extra half second or so is the reason speed gets in there.
Lipsy pops it up. It's a long run, and nobody's going to get to it. It's a foul ball, but Lipsy feels like he's got new life there.
Yeah, definitely didn't get all of that one. Did Trey Lipsy, but you know, he's one of those guys. He's given other teams in the league fits over his time here, an Ohio State Buckeye. Big Ten All-Freshman team member a few seasons back. You got to be careful when he steps in.
Nothing but air on the 1-1. O'Toole looking for a big out with Brandon Ike and Brody Donay, the next two to face after this. You'd like to split them up and then get to see Donay in the fourth. 1-2 on the ground. McGregor able to flip it up to himself for out number 2, but it does move Earhart up to third with 2 away.
Yeah, that certainly wasn't intentional. It looked like that was a tough bouncer on a good changeup downstairs by Evan O'Toole, but we see a lot of times McGregor not only breaks down when he receives a ground ball, but he almost gets down to a knee, and it's not all conventional to do that. But sometimes when you do that, you don't give yourself as much of a room to recover should the ball pop out of your glove, and didn't hurt him there.
First pitch swinging for Mikey. Caleb Hall back for out number 3. Falmouth works around at 1-out single. Strands Zach Earhart on the base paths. It's still 2-0 Harbor Hawks. Headed to the bottom of the third from the Gov. This is your home for Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Do you think that talking to people and not telling them that you're on the mic is like being in a car with someone calling someone and not telling them you're on speaker?
Are you macked up?
You already know, Big Bama.
Macked up, baby. Macked up. You believe it?
Mocked up with Big Bama.
Yeah.
Oi, Walker! I actually can't believe you did that. We won't talk about what he did, but he ruined my back grip. Oh, on the road? Who is this guy? Get this man a contract. 33 for the Commodores. Tyler McGregor. Find out about him. Sometimes I hit myself. I don't know, I've just seen Michael Phelps do it a little bit before he races. Makes you feel a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Take it with. Oh, out. Hey.
We have C.J. Abrams.
8-9-1. Luke Heyman, Tab Tracy, and Caleb Hall. In the bottom of the third against Hayden Frank. Falmouth trying to get on the board, Matt.
Well, it's interesting. Luke Heyman down in the order today. Typically, we've seen him up near the 6th spot, but that's where Eze lives right now, and it's a good way to start the inning with a power bat like Heyman to lead off.
Good changeup. Gets an ugly swing from Heyman to start it off. And goes the fastball up. That's what we saw a lot of to Gavin Turley and Michael Eze. That allowed the Doors to get some base runners before Cade Clemens grounded into that inning-ending double play.
Well, Zach, I want to know what some of the conversations are like during this at-bat right now between Brody Donay and Luke Heyman, the two catchers going to be with each other in Florida this year with Donay transferring from Virginia Tech, but they've shared some words with each other throughout the times here in the Cape League.
High chopper to Ike at third. Couple of bumps from him and an easy throw retires Heyman. Hayden Frank settles himself back in. He's still got himself an early lead as well.
Locates a good changeup there, low and away. Bottom right corner of the zone, away from the righty and Heyman, just way out in front. And when it's slowed down like that and you're out in front, it's just one of those rolled over ground balls, and that's how this inning begins for the Doors.
It's been his best pitch so far, without question. The changeup. Tracy slices one out to left center. It's running away from Lipsy, but he runs faster, and he'll run it down for out number 2.
Not bad to see Tab swing first pitch. Got a fastball there, outer third. He hit a ball, what many are saying, around 400 feet during batting practice today. Just absolutely got on a baseball. And he was not convinced about it, but everyone else was saying that it went over the fence surrounding the playground out in right field. I saw it from behind the turtle, Zach, and it was the longest ball I've seen anyone hit this summer, and it was by Tab Tracy.
Couple of breaking balls. Starts off Caleb Hall, starting the second time through the order for the Doors. Bounces one in. Hall lined out to pretty deep center first time. Now ahead 2-1. Ground ball left side. Going to be a tough play at short, but a smooth play from Hainline. No tag applied. The throw pulled him off the bag, but it's an infield single for Caleb Hall.
Well, that works for the Doors. Fastball down and away, and Hall got a good piece on it, 100 off the bat. That's a tough play for Hainline anyways, but he got it cleanly. Yet his throw sailed just a little bit, but with that speed and where it was hit, that's why it's an infield hit.
And now the tying run for Falmouth is Travis Bazzana. He'll take that in any situation. The Doors, curveball for a called strike. Gets Frank ahead once again. It was a chopper to Eric Snow last time for Bazzana. Quickly behind 0-2.
That's just a fastball up and away. Bazzana not quick enough on it. But good location. I mean, right now, Hayden Frank's living on the edges, and that works, especially against a lineup like the Doors that's been as hot as it comes.
Curve stays outside. Nice take by Bazzana to not try and chase it and get antsy, something we haven't seen from him at all on the summer. He's so patient and disciplined at the plate. And he's worked it back even 2-2.
There's that elevated fastball again, just giving it something to think about. Typically responding with that changeup does Hayden Frank. Would be kind of surprised to see him, especially against a big power bat like Bazzana, to work with two fastballs in a row, which sometimes you will see in a 2-2 count.
They'll check on Hall at first. Donna slices one foul to stay alive on the curveball.
Yeah, trying to go again to a different pitch than the fastball. Good way to fight it off by Travis there.
Hall didn't steal too many bases this year, but had a stolen base in the win over Wareham a couple of nights ago. Another 2-2, another foul ball. Bazzana wanted that one. Fastball over the heart of the plate at 91.
That's probably the most aggressive I've ever seen him step out of a box and ridicule himself in terms of what he expects of himself. And that's just a part of the player that he is, mentally, physically.
Curveball, line drive into the gap, right center. Hall's headed around first. He'll head to third. The throw goes to second to split the runners. And Caleb Hall's going to take off as it gets away from the shortstop. And Hall comes in to score on some heads-up base running. Falmouth gets one back. It's a single, and then the error allows him to score. 2-1 our score now.
Well, first off, let's talk about the at-bat. That time he gets the slider, same spot as the previous pitch, and Bazzana just out in front of it, hits it 100 off the bat, but it wasn't going all the way to the wall, so that's why you knew it was going to be first to third, but you said heads-up base running. It got away from Elijah Hainline, and just like that, you've got to run.
Now Walker Yannick digs in. He flew out. Will Taylor in left. Wind still gusting here at the Gov. Bazzana, really good speed. Top 5 in the Cape League in stolen bases this summer. Wonder if they're going to try and put him in motion, see if he can get that tying run in scoring position. Broke the program record for stolen base at Oregon State this year. Not going here, and a good changeup gets Frank ahead to Yannick.
As you mentioned, Zach, another good piece of the changeup there. That's a pitch that Bazzana sliced away foul prior to that double. It works real well when it's in that part of the zone, but in this time it works in the inside to righties.
And once again with Frank ahead in the count, he goes to an elevated fastball, really trying to get chases on that pitch, and the Commodores know the scouting report, they're laying off.
And again, they're not even like still chaseable. I mean, when they're up, they're really up. It's an easy take. The purpose of that is to get it a little bit down, but you don't want to feel like you're aiming and then actually leave something just a little bit off middle, and then that's put over the wall. So if nothing else, it doesn't hurt you, but it's really not making the batters think a whole lot.
Bazzana's on the move. The 3-2, a curveball. And Yannick swings through it for out number 3, but Falmouth gets a run back. thanks to an error and some heads-up base running from Caleb Hall. We're through 3 in Falmouth. It's 2-1. Hyannis in front. A lot of other action around the Cape League, though. With that, we're going to send it down to the field. Desney Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. A few scores around the Cape. The Kettleers lead the Brewster Whitecaps 5-4 in the top of the 9th. The Chatham Anglers lead the YD Red Sox 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th. The Harwich Mariners and the Orleans Firebirds are scoreless in the bottom of the 1st. The Horn Braves and the Wareham Gatemen are in pregame. You've been watching Falmouth Commodores baseball. We'll see you guys on the other side of the break.
Brody Donay leads it off. Last time he was up, Harbor Hawks catcher went boom and picked up another home run. That gave the Harbor Hawks a 2-0 lead. It's now 2-1. Falmouth getting one back in the 3rd. Emmett O'Toole back out to work. Starts him off with a couple of pitches low, and he falls behind Donay. Leadoff man reached in each of the first 2 frames for the Harbor Hawks. Last time it was a 1-out single and nothing more. 3 pitches to Donay. He's keeping everything down in the zone, trying to avoid a repeat performance of at bat number 1.
Just being cautious.
4 pitches. All of them are that sinker, and they're all down. It's 2-2.
That late movement really, really works, especially against a righty here. Just sinking towards his shoelaces there and coming up empty.
This time it's a little higher, and it's popped a lot higher. Bazana in shallow right. Makes the grab for out number 1.
Another sinker. He didn't hurt him this time. Donay, just maybe on previous experience on the previous pitches, thinking that that pitch is going to end up more down in the zone, so he almost just golfs it. That's why it goes a mile into the air and not a whole lot in distance. And took a second. Bazana could have counted to 10 before that ball landed in his glove for that first out.
Here comes Will Taylor. First pitch swinging on the ground to Eze. Nice play moving to his left. Routine for out number 2.
Looked routine, but it jumped off at 90. I mean, that's just good speed by Eze to close that off pretty consistently. He almost squared up to that baseball with how hot it jumped off the bat. And he was more favored with the shift more to the third base side of the infield. So he gets a good read on the baseball, and because of that, he's able to make a good throw, had some time to deliver for the second out.
Now Ben Thompson starts off ahead in the count. New pitcher starting to get loose for Falmouth. Scout Updike getting ready to go. Not up and throwing yet, just stretching a little bit. Hoping that O'Toole will get you at least through this inning, maybe through the next. 2-0 pop-up. Heyman's got room for it. He'll shed the mask. Basket catch. Almost dropped out of his glove, but he keeps it in for out number 3. O'Toole works a clean 1-2-3 fourth. Falmouth bats back to the plate, trying to even it up from the Gov.
Priscilla Peruzzi and been a host family for the 2nd year. We found that every single player, even those that weren't staying with us, were polite, respectful, and really appreciated what you were doing for them.
After a while, they were bringing home
players, and they were always hanging out down in the man cave.
Almost every day is another memory that you make. We even have friends of ours that will text us and let us know, did you see what happened? We've gotten a lot of other people supporting them as well.
Headed to the bottom of the fourth, Gov Fuller Field. And you know what that means? It's trivia time, Matt. It's a night game here, somewhat. The lights just turned on as we're talking, and the sun's going to go down throughout. So, when was the first night game played in the Cape League? Just looking for a year here. Got any guesses?
No, I do not.
You don't?
Not this go around.
Can you give me a decade? I'm not going to tell you whether you're right or not on air yet, because we got to give the people some time to think. But
well, I think that same hint that always works. It was before our time frame.
It definitely was that. That's for sure. We'll let you know in a couple innings if you think you know it. Tweet at us at Falmouth Commodores. We'd love to hear from you guys at home. Hope you guys are enjoying the season as much as we have. It's been a lot of fun, Matt. Coming down the home stretch, one more regular season home game, guaranteed one home game in the playoffs. After that, it's all going to be up in the air.
That it is, and the only thing we can probably assure is that we might be seeing these guys right here in these Harbor Hawks.
And with that, it's a new pitcher out of Cal Berkeley, Christian Becerra. Comes on in. Make just his second appearance with Hyannis.
Yes, he does. Out of Cal Berkeley, Becerra, you know, in that first go-around, it was against the Gatemen, that 9-8 walk-off win that clinched Falmouth the spot in the playoffs back on the 28th. Went an inning in that game, a hit and 1 K. Not a whole lot from him yet, obviously. Very limited experience here for Becerra, but again, from Cal Berkeley, comes in with a good opportunity here to try to almost sort of try out in terms of being one of those reliable arms in the bullpen down the stretch. But he started 11 games at school this year, just over a 6 ERA there, probably wanting to get that down a bit, but struck out 53 against 18 walks. That 53 was a team high for Cal.
The control is what you're looking for with Becerra, but he did struggle with giving up extra base hits. 26 extra base hits for him. 16 of those doubles, 9 of them long balls.
Yep, and the opponent batting average against him was tough. It's not very good, just 333 against. I mean, a lot of guys found success against him, and if you're the Doors right now, you got 2 hits through 3. You know, you're back into this game on some gritty base running, but other than that, you haven't really threatened a whole lot. So you need to find a way, and this is one of those arms that you could certainly pounce on with a good part of the order coming up to do so.
Becerra trying to keep this lead for Hyannis. Tyler McGregor steps up. Heart of the order for Falmouth. The bottom of the fourth, McGregor, Turley, and Eze. Hyannis got a good start overall out of Hayden Frank. 3 innings pitched, 1 unearned run, 2 hits, a couple of walks, just 1 strikeout for the Lipscomb Bison, but he left with a lead. That's what the Harbor Hawks were hoping for him to do. Fastball at 93, up above the letters to McGregor. Harbor Hawks also going to the righty against a right-handed heavy lineup for Falmouth. Something we haven't said often this season, but 6 righties to just 3 lefties for the Doors. Goes right back to the fastball. Gets it by McGregor to even it up.
And all those lefties and righties, I promise you it's not intentional, because it's not like Yankee Stadium where there's a short porch out in right, or Camden Yards, what used to be a short porch in left. It's the same all the way around. The fence is the same here at the Gov, all the way from the left field foul pole and to the right.
Christian Becerra looking at himself a little frustrated right now, losing his hat. All 3 pitches.
Well, he's got a headband on. That's what I'm wondering. Maybe that just kind of keeps the traction, you know, not all that firm up on his forehead. Let's see if it falls off here once again.
He's also trying to find the zone. The swinging strike was the lone strike in this count. This one fouled off his foot. That's the first pitch we've seen from Becerra in the zone. It's 2-2.
The hat flew off again. It's almost like the Gavin Turley of losing the baseball bat in the box. he really explodes. You know, these guys that don't stand all that tall out there, you know, the way they can deliver that low to mid 90s is because they really get a lot of torque and they explode with their lower half, and Becerra does a real good job of that on his way down.
2-2 breaking ball fouled back. First time we've seen the off-speed stuff from Becerra. Found the middle of the zone, but McGregor unable to do too much damage on it.
Yeah, just got underneath that one and sliced it a little ways foul. Same result, the pop out in his first go-around.
Another break even from Becerra. Swing and a miss. Really good breaking ball. Done able to keep it from hitting the dirt. Becerra enters and strikes out the first man he faces.
Well, gets a strikeout and a new cap as well. Maybe a little bit smaller for him there. I mean, we mentioned he just had his debut the other day, so his gear relatively new. You got to break in the new hat and the new jersey that you've got on. We'll see if that is the reason that it sticks on his head here.
Big shift comes in to Turley. Hyannis, one of the most analytical teams in the league. A lot of the Cape League analytics stuff coming out of this Hyannis analytics crew. They'll shift quite a bit, and they put a big one on against Turley. Worked a walk last time. Starts off behind in the count. That sharp slider has been the best pitch for Becerra so far. Goes back to it. Ahead in the count 0-2.
It's a good pitch. He's utilizing it really well. Can't throw a lot of fastballs to this guy right here. But should he decide to maybe work backwards, 93 under the hands is a tough pitch. But Gavin Turley does have some of the quickest hands that you and I have ever seen.
0-2, another slider. He threw a lot of fastballs early to McGregor. Then threw a slider. Realized maybe how well he was throwing it today. And since then, he's thrown all sliders. It's 1-2 to Turley. Goes right back to it. Turley grounds it to short. Pops out of the hands of Hainline. Turley beats it out. And an infield single for Gavin Turley. One out base runner for Falmouth.
That's a pretty routine play there for Hainline. Just pops in and out of the glove and kind of recovers, nearly still recovered on it, but I don't know, Zach. I mean, I think if that's fielded cleanly, we'll see. And now they actually have just flipped it. That looks like it's going to be ruled an error to the shortstop in Hainline.
Michael Eze once again falls behind. Line drive, base hit for Eze into left. Loud crack of the bat from the Georgetown Hoya. And just like last time, Turley and Eze both find themselves on base. So two aboard with one out for Cade Clemens.
Well, 5-6 in the order presenting a chance, and Cade Clemens gets a second go at it to try and, make up for that previous ground ball out. But in this case, it's a hung slider, and Michael Eze explodes on it, pulls it there into left pretty sharply, and we mentioned this lineup specifically the way the Doors are hitting the baseball bat. There's no 1 through 9. There's a lot of hot hitters in the order here, and if you hang a slider against any one of these guys, it probably won't fare well for you anyways in the Cape League against any order, but this one specifically, I would not recommend doing that.
And some news that may be notable to the Harbor Hawks fans. Katuit knocks off Brewster 5-4, escaping a jam in the bottom of the 9th to clinch the #1 seed and home field advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs. As long as Cavaliers are in it, home field advantage going to be at Lowell Park. So now Hyannis only in play for the 2 and the 3. Becerra continuing to attack with that breaking ball and having so much success with it.
Yeah, it's a really good pitch. It's got a lot of movement. It's a slider that spins upwards of 2,600 RPM. I mean, that thing just moves and snaps, especially so lethal against right-handed hitters. Clemens just the most recent one to fall victim.
Fastball frozen. Becerra finds a second strikeout. Clemens 0 for 2 in his home debut. And now the burden of trying to get these runners in falls to Luke Heyman.
Well, he went with a different pitch, and it's that fastball. When you see a good diet in the on-deck circle and when you step in the box of just a slider, you don't forget about that fastball, but it really certainly kind of freezes you like we just saw right there.
Heyman takes the fastball for a strike. Michael Eze jumped on a fastball. Turley rolled over the slider and reached on an error. Beside that, it's been, if Becerra's throwing the slider, he hasn't been hurt by it too much. Won't be hurt here. Snow dives back in to get Eze by about a half a step and retire the side. Falmouth once again gets a pair on with one away, but unable to do anything with them. 2-1 the score as we head to the fifth from Falmouth.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just one click away.
It's an honor to support the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
Evan O'Toole back out for the fifth inning of work. 2-1 Hyannis in front. We get a look at the standings. Here coming down the playoff push. We mentioned Katuitt clinching that first seed, the West Division. That's going to do them well going into the playoffs. More than likely going to be playing the Bourne Braves.
Well, that's the key. It's that, you know, all these positions for the last two games have actually been solidified in terms of who is getting in. We've known that Wareham, since the last time we were at the Gov, was eliminated, and Chatham was eliminated right around the same time. Now it's a matter of where everyone's going to lock in. And for a while, you could tell that Katuitt was probably going to get that one, but this push from the Harbor Hawks over the last two-thirds of the season has been pretty impressive and gave them a good run for their money. Literally game 42 for Katuitt to clinch that top seed. That's impressive that it took that long given where they were at the beginning of this year.
You take the month of July, the best two teams in the entire Cape League are both on the field right now at Gov Fuller Field. Hyannis 16-5-1 in July. The Doors not far behind them, 16-7. And 19-7 since starting 3-10-2 in the first 15 games. Falmouth flipped a switch and on a heater since. Clemens will wait on it. McGregor can't pick it out of the dirt. Snow moves on up. And it's an error. Start off the inning. Puts a base runner in scoring position for the Harbor Hawks.
Eric Snow has good speed out of the box, Zach, but right there, I mean, Cade Clemens got to it rather quickly, and he releases that ball a couple steps into the infield grass, but just spiked it. There's not really a whole lot else to say. Just getting his bearings over there at third, this first start this summer. But that's a tough way to start because you had 7, 8, 9 due up. If you had O'Toole get through 2 runs through 5 innings, after how the first inning started, you'd be pretty impressed. Now that task gets a whole lot more difficult.
Some sloppy baseball from both sides early. Pair errors on each side. All 3 runs that have scored to this point are unearned. One to Alex Lane. He grounded into a double play in the second. That's no longer a possibility here, at least not traditionally, with that runner at second base.
We've seen some funny types of double plays this summer.
went around, and it's 1-2.
That's funny. Luke Heyman, when he was looking for a check down, he pointed it down to first. The only two people there are Tyler McGregor and the first base coach of the Harbor Hawks. J.C. Fernandez had to point down there to the field umpire in this case, which is William Bowers.
High pop-up, out to center. Tracy has a real good arm. I don't think Snow's going to test it. And it popped out of the glove of Tracy. Lane tries to move up to second, and the throw goes off the top of the glove of Bazana. That's a pop out to center. But Tracy got ready to throw it and just didn't watch it into the glove. Another Falmouth error, and there's 2 in scoring position with nobody out.
That's just a tough break. Really tough break here because you've executed. You talk about being a fly ball or ground ball or contact pitcher. You get a weak chopper at 50 miles per hour off the bat, and a base runner reaches to second. And then you get a routine pop-up there in center from who many would say is that gold glove caliber center fielder in Tab Tracy. You execute. Should be nobody on with 2 out. And now 9 steps in the order here with the other big guns coming right after.
O'Toole continuing to do his job. It's 0-2. Yet to give up any earned runs today. And with the top of the order looming, Scout Updike just finished throwing. He might be done. Eze looks back to second. Snow will score. The ground out is out number 1.
As I mentioned, the run comes in there on that ground ball. Again, that gets you out of the inning. That executes exactly what Evan O'Toole needed to do. Soft contact in this inning. And that's just not the story. And that's really tough. And now Mike Landry's going to come out. And
no move just yet, and now it is. That'll do it for Evan O'Toole 2 times through the order. Gives up no earned runs. 3 unearned, maybe a 4th unearned on his line to come with Lane at second. Top of the order coming for the Harbor Hawks. 3-1 Hyannis in front on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Let's take you through a day of BP with Garrett Coe. You can kind of see all of our pitchers over here doing absolutely nothing. They do a really good job at that. But it's the only way you can pass through BP at this time. I got it. Let me look like I'm doing something today. Parker Coyle thinks he's going to steal this ball from me. It's over here. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of messing around out here. Yeah. I like to think of myself as a multifaceted athlete who can play in the outfield, the infield, on the mound. I have a catcher's mitt. I'll get behind the plate. It's all about being versatile. All right, now we're working with fire. We got a first base mitt. We're going to show just the other perks of being Garrett Coe. Coach Brian's trying to mess me up right now. He's trying to see if I can look bad on camera. I'm not going to let it happen. Not today. Not while I'm in the limelight.
Another Commodore debut, Scout Updike. Joining the Commodores out of Jacksonville. They'll try and get them out of this jam in the 5th.
yeah, Updike, again, we talked about it, getting his first go at it here. With 6 for Jacksonville and earned runs and strikeouts. Had a line of 4-2, 7.39 ERA over 3 starts, 10 out of the pen. 37 hits against, struck out a good handful of batters that we talked about, and registered over 30 innings of work. So, smaller conference player, but nonetheless gets his opportunity here, and we'll see what he's got.
Starts off Zach Earhart with a strike. We saw an A-Sun pitcher on the mound to start the game for Hyannis, and now an A-Sun out of the pen for the Doors. Zach Earhart has reached both times, an error in the first and then the single in the third. And the ball gets away from Luke Heyman to move up another.
We'll have to see what they rule that, Zach. I mean, I would say pass ball on that one. We'll see kind of what they go with.
Gonna rule it a wild pitch. Was down, gets by Heyman. Now the infield in for the Doors early. This 5th inning. Gonna take a really big effort from Updike. Try and keep another unearned run from coming home. Already 3 Falmouth errors. Couple throwing, and then on the fly ball to center that popped out of the glove of Tracy. 3-1 count to Earhart. Continuing to try and pound that spot low and away. Fastball roped foul. Sped it up a little bit. Shot it down towards the hill. Out in left field.
Yeah, fastball's coming in upper 80s from Updike. It's certainly lively.
Goes right back to the breaking ball. Earhart just gets a piece up and stay alive. Strikeout would be massive here from Updike. Trying to minimize the damage. Trey Lipsy on deck. And the payoff. Ground ball to Eze. On a hop. He'll throw to the plate, and the throw is low. Lane is safe. And another Falmouth error. That's the 4th already.
Well, Zach, that just can't happen. I mean, you got the infield in. Eze fields it properly and just spikes the throw. I mean, you have Heyman as a catcher. He's back there to block, but that's on pitches, not when there's a base runner coming in to score as a run. That's an easier throw than your throw over to first base. And another mistake. You've got 3 of them now in this inning.
Lipsy squares to bunt. Pulls back. Goes as a fielder's choice, and then the throwing error that allows Lane to score. Updike gets back into the count. Something that we haven't seen that often from Falmouth over the last stretch. 4 errors on opening night. Since then, it's been a whole lot cleaner. It hasn't been super clean. They've had a few games with multiple errors, but have not had this many in a long time. 1-2 count to Lipsy. Swing and a miss. Updike picks up a strikeout. They talk about not giving teams 4th outs in innings. I mean, you can make the argument that that was out number 5 in this inning.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you on that. Good slide piece down and away. We talked about having not seen this in a while. You remember that 10-2 loss against Hyannis at McKeon Park, the last game we went there to McKeon Park for.
Runner goes. Heyman with a throw down. It's a good one, but it's not going to be in time to get Earhart, who swipes his 2nd bag of the day. And a 2-out runner in scoring position for Ike again.
Well, yep, another stolen base there. But that loss for Falmouth, 10-2. There were 3 errors by the Doors. That was probably the last time we've seen it get out of control like it's been here, but this is on a different level.
If I remember correctly, too, a lot of those errors were late in the game when it was already pretty much uncontested at that point. Harbor Hawks pulled away pretty early in that contest before Falmouth really could do much about it.
The sixth inning broke open, 3 runs came across, but there were 2 errors in that inning and resulted in the Harborhawks batting around in the 6th inning. And what was, as we mentioned, again, a tough loss, 10-2.
2-1 to Brandon Ike. He's got a chance to bring in another Harborhawk. 2-run top of the 5th already, and a 3-1 count to him. Brody Donay on deck.
Well, Zach, not to keep, beating the dead horse here, but, this inning starts at 7-8-9, and O'Toole executed. Not only has it continued and runs have come in to score, but you've got Brody Donay on deck, who now will get a chance to bat.
A walk of Ike, and there's a pair on the base paths with 2 away for Hyannis. Wheels keep spinning for the Harborhawks.
I mean, like you said, you can't give 4th and 5th outs to, outside of Falmouth, the best offense on Cape Cod right now. I mean, these guys are raking the bat right now and will make you pay. They've got pop, and their best hitter isn't even in the lineup today. That's a scary part.
You're going to see him in a couple of days. That's for sure. But you mentioned one positive thing there. You said outside of Falmouth, the best offense on the Cape. There still have only been 4 runs put up by Hyannis to this point. If you can keep it at 4 and give the Falmouth offense a shot, they'll definitely have a chance to do some damage of their own.
Well, with this lineup, I'd say there's always a shot. I mean, no deficit, especially early in games, is too large. You got to chip away. I mean, you're not going to hit a 10-run home run.
There goes Earhart. Pitch upstairs. He'll swipe another. Never a look from Updike. You read that like a book, and easy stolen bag for him. That's his 3rd of the game already.
Yeah, this 4th inning, there's been a lot of laundry. Not the way that you want games to go along.
2-2, Updike with a chance to get out of it. Earhart at 3rd, Ike at 1st. And the break even. Runner goes. High pop up on the infield. McGregor calls it. Will make the grab for out number 3. The long inning finally comes to an end. We're halfway through from Falmouth. 4-1, Hyannis in front. Before we step aside, we're going to send it down to Destiny Sanchez on the field.
Thanks, guys. Today I had the chance to chat with Oregon State's Travis Bazzana on his journey through baseball, his goals for the future, and the impact he's making on the game and will continue to make on the game. Bazzana always had high aspirations for baseball. He's continuing to make those goals accomplished here at Cape Cod and at Oregon State, and it was. You can watch it on Wednesday on YouTube. Catch you on the other side of the break. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Dab Tracy steps up for Falmouth trying to get something back. Not a single hit in that last inning for Hyannis, but 7 come to the plate and 2 come in to score with 3 Falmouth errors. Tab Tracy, first pitch swinging, finds himself a base hit. We talked about the might of this Falmouth offense. They're going to have a chance. Just have to get something moving.
Well, partner, we talked about it. I mean, ugly inning, you got to flush it, and no one's feeling that more than Tab Tracy because, he contributed to part of it. So what does he do? All you can do is just look for your next at bat and try to do what you can to help the team out. And Tab looks for a first pitch, jumps on one right there. It's a fastball up and away to the lefty, and he still yanks it into right for a sharp base hit.
Good breaking ball to Caleb Hall. Oh, 0-1. Start him off. Singleton came around to score the lone Falmouth run in the third. Almost got Tab Tracy throwing back. Christian Becerra ahead 0-2.
James Fonseca's got to be careful. He's not the tallest guy in the world, especially compared to Brody Donay back there. He leans over him as the umpire right there, ready for those balls and strikes. Donay popped out of the crouch and delivered a dart there to first.
There goes Tracy. Hall swinging on the breaking ball on 0-2, stays alive. So Tracy walks back on over to first. Mentioned earlier, Matt, the success that Caleb Hall is having, swinging the bat really well. Line out in his first at bat and then the single in the third. Lays off the 0-2 in the dirt. Working a good AB. If he's able to reach, it would bring up Bazana in his spot as the tying run again.
Yeah, 9 hits in his first 24 tries. I mean, that average plays north of 370 the way he's been swinging it since arriving here for Falmouth.
And he works himself back even. Another 2-strike elevated fastball from one of these Harbor Hawks pitchers.
And I don't really think it's by design to be that high. We saw a couple times with Hayden Frank that Brody Donay went out there for a conversation with him. You got to at least make it contestable, otherwise it's an easy take.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Brought that one back in the zone, and Hall came up empty. First out of the inning is the third strikeout from Becerra. Now Travis Bazana will get a shot.
Well, elevated fastball, but that time it's in the zone. And it kind of has to be because it's 2-2. And you get a wave and a miss there. And right now, Becerra's rolling.
Bazana slices the first pitch foul. Low 90s fastball from Becerra. Plays so well off of that breaking ball.
And the tough thing about that for Bazana specifically is the nature of his, character as a player and the scouting report. He's not going to get too many fastballs. So first pitch to get one there in a spot where you can attack a pitch like that, I would expect a heavy dose of changeups and breaking balls here in some not so hittable locations.
Bazana squared to bunt. Slider bent back in and caught the zone. It's 0-2. 1-for-2 day for Bazana. Roped a single in his last at bat in the third. Long hold from Becerra. Fastball out.
And that's a fastball up and away, just like that first pitch that he saw. But again, a couple feet off the plate, one that you're never swinging at. That's why the frustration sets in for these hitters. The better you are as a hitter, the less likely you're going to get of a good pitch to hit.
Chess game of baseball. 1-2 takes a wicked hop off of the shin guard of Donay and to the backstop. Evens the count to Bazana, and a man in scoring position after the wild pitch. Chance to cut into the deficit.
Yeah, just spiked one there. Tried to maybe slow it down a little bit and just got away from him. Brody Done stands real tall, big size, but a hop like that still got by the big backstop.
2-2 is demolished. Out to deep right center, Bazana with blast number 6 of the summer. Falmouth gets the 2 runs right back.
Travis Bazana didn't miss that, not even a little bit. And that's a big cut there to get those runs and errors back, and no one appreciates that more than number 11 right there walking back to the dugout. Tab Tracy and some others, and a tough inning there previously, but to contribute for him getting the base hit and then for Bazana to battle in that count, down 0-2, gets one over the heart of the plate. You can't do that with 2 strikes.
He knew he didn't miss that one. Had to make sure that he saw it out before he got too much on his horse there. Down that first base line, just like that, a 1-run game again, as Walker Hyannis now steps up. Those are the first earned runs of the game from either side.
That's what happens when there's sloppy baseball, unfortunately. You know, the pitchers don't really appreciate it because it keeps them having to work out there. But, again, as you mentioned, the first set of earned runs.
Now Walker Hyannis up. He's 0 for 2. He's got a lot of pop in his bat as well. Heavy dose of breaking balls. Start him off, it's 0-2. Sarah looking for a bounce back out of Hyannis, who's trying to battle. Slices it foul, he'll stay alive. Nice grab down that line. A couple of fans. The crowds have been good all summer long, but they have really picked up over the last week or so. Fans coming in, and I'm sure it's going to be packed when we get that at least one playoff game here at the Gov. There's going to be a lot of people out to see it. First round over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hyannis pops another one up, but this time Alex Lane will have room and snag it by that Commodores bullpen.
Yeah, just kind of flailing at that breaking ball, the slider off the plate away from the righty and Walker Hyannis. And you mean to do that just to fight off another pitch, but sometimes if you get too much of your baseball bat on it, it's just kind of a weak flare over there. And Alex Lane with room to put in his back pocket for the second out.
Now Tyler McGregor steps up. Takes low to start off. He's 0 for 2 today. Had himself a 3-hit game yesterday. Started 0 for 2 in that one as well, but singles in each of his last 3 plate appearances at Doran Park. Big swing at the fastball. Comes up empty. A ball and a strike to the Northeastern Husky. Trying to keep the inning alive for Gavin Turley. Turley and Eze have been productive. They found themselves standing at first base at the end of each of their 4 plate appearances. And it's 2-1.
Zach, you mentioned the hits yesterday. Prior to that 5-hit effort against Katuitt a few days back, had himself 5 consecutive without a hit. His average dropped all the way down to 250 from a guy who was sitting right around 300. Since then, 9 hits entering today's action in just 3 games.
Definitely goes a long way. You have those big multi-hit performances. Tried to spot the back door with the breaking ball. Couldn't catch it. Hitters count to McGregor 3-1. Haven't seen him hit the long ball in a while, but he's got a lot of pop in that bat. 18 at Northeastern, already 2 this summer. But it's been since July 5th that we've seen it. Won't see it on the 3-1. Popped back on top of the press box here at the Gov, and it's 3-2.
That thump may have been picked up by our microphones here. I'm not quite sure, but
it was there.
Right above my head, it felt like almost.
It's coming for you, Matt.
Yeah.
3-2 to McGregor. Breaking ball, soft line drive, sinking into right field. Base hit, keeps the inning alive. Good battle from Tyler McGregor, and Gavin Turley will get a shot.
Just stays with that pitch, getting away from him there in the box. And again, kind of just stays with that one all the way through. A pitch down in the zone isn't the hardest thing in the world to hit. Obviously, you know, it doesn't jump off the bat a whole lot, but you mentioned the single yesterday to start the run for him in the 5th inning. He does it again here. And now Eric Beatty is going to have a mound visit.
New pitcher headed to the mound to face Gavin Turley. We'll get you all his info on the other side of the break. 4-3, Doors trying to stage a comeback here at the Gov.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats of the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll Doors.
We've got a delay here at Gov Fuller Field. Looked like maybe an injury to the home plate umpire, James Fonseca, as he's headed down to the locker rooms. Teams are off the field during this pitching change. We'll keep you updated as we find out more, but for now, we're going to step aside. See you guys in a few. 4-3, Hyannis in front at the Gov, but that tying run is on base when we come back, and Gavin Turley will step up to the plate. See you in a minute on the Commodores Baseball Network. Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field. The situation with home plate umpire James Fonseca not feeling too well. They took him back to the locker room. Hopefully he's okay. But in the meantime, we're going to bring you some content. We're going to talk to one of the people that you don't see a lot, but you do see a lot. You just don't see his face. You see his work. One of our videographers for the summer, Scott Semanchik.
Thank you, Zach. Great to be here.
Yeah.
Great to be in your chairs. Be up here. Feel what it's really like. I really don't get this perspective of the game much. I'm either on the field or I'm back there.
You're down exposed, you know, the windy weather we got sometimes earlier in the season. Now it's pretty hot down there, but it's cooled off tonight. You're not out there dying in the heat. You're up here.
Yeah, and probably the biggest thing you tell here in the Cape is how cold it gets. It goes from hot to cold really quick, and exposed is a really sensitive word to say. I've gotten a few close calls out there.
We've seen some line drives that have come awfully close to. I mean, forget the
line
camera gear
drives,
just for
bats.
a second. You guys as a crew.
Yeah, we've had a few close calls out there. Really working on reaction time.
There you go.
I'm ready to catch one. Every time I see that ball come off the bat, I'm ready.
Come on,
To
man.
get my hands up.
They call you a pitcher, not a catcher.
Yeah, well, you know what? Got to do some things to save the arm.
I know that
save
better
the
than
body.
anyone. We did our before the season started. We had a bullpen session with all the interns when there was probably 5 players, I think, on the Falmouth team here in Falmouth. We're still waiting on a load of players to come in. Scott brings it. He's got a good mid-80s fastball.
Yeah, I try my hardest. Try not to hurt myself too much, though.
Scott plays on the club team at High Point University.
Yeah,
where
had a good year.
He's not doing the production stuff that he does down there. And then here for us, along with McKenna Wall and Laura Schroeder, our videography crew here for the summer. You guys have been putting together a lot of great content. And it was great to get you on for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we're about
it's
ready
been
to
a
get
ton
back
of
to
fun.
action.
Hey, I always love to do this. It's a ton of fun. Thank you, guys. Thank you, too. You guys have a great rest of your game.
Thank you, Scott. Also, if you see the home plate cam moving in when the ball's put in play, just know that's who it is. That's Scott.
Me today.
Just keep that in your
This
head
guy.
for today. He's got you covered on the high home. We're going to step aside. A new pitcher coming about. David Case is going to get warmed up, and we're ready to go. Here, back at the Gov in the bottom of the 5th, 4-3. Hyannis in front on the Commodores Baseball Network. David Case taking over out of Grand Canyon. Getting his second appearance against the Doors. His first one was a good one here at the Gov a week ago. 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts.
Overall, he's got 3 consecutive outings with multi-strikeout efforts from the lefty there on the mound from Grand Canyon. Sporting overall now in 6 tries, a 2.25 ERA. That certainly works and did good numbers at school this year at Grand Canyon. Or rather getting ready for it, but he was with Oregon State this past season. 1 innings pitched overall, though. Didn't get a whole lot of action, and now just before getting to GCU, trying to just put on a show here in the Cape League, and so far so good.
It's 1-0 to an Oregon State Beaver and Gavin Turley. Slices one foul. Fastball upper 80s. Ball and a strike to Turley. He's gotten himself to first base both times, but looking for his first hit. He walked in the second, reached on an error in the fourth. McGregor is the tying run at first base. It was the 2-run shot by Bazana that brought it back to 1 run and matched the 2 put up in the top of the 5th by Hyannis.
That's a really disciplined take right there on that breaking ball up and away. You know, when you're in a zone like Turley is power hitting, sometimes you think you can take everything out of the yard. But to still be disciplined and work your walks when they happen and swing at good pitches, that takes a lot.
Can't stay on that fastball away. Brings it to 2-2. Turley trying to keep the inning alive for Michael Eze on deck after that long delay. The umpiring crew had to flip things around.
Zach, to further that nugget, I mean, Gavin Turley averaging just a hair under a walk per game while slugging arguably the best slugging bat at Oregon State this year besides Travis Bazana. You don't see that a whole lot, and especially in his freshman year.
3-2 curveball, swing and a miss. Case comes out of the pen, strikes out Turley. After the delay, we're back to baseball, headed to the 6th at Gov Fuller Field. Matt Venezio will have the play-by-play on the other side of the break. 4-3, Hyannis in front from Falmouth.
Want to display some Falmouth pride? Show your support for the Commodores by picking up a rally rag at the intern tent. Rally rags are $2 each or
Top of the 6th, getting ready to get underway. Nice day in history here, and it's good to show you that because today the Cape League's getting some action over there with where the Worcester Red Sox play. AAA baseball field, and the Cape's getting some opportunity to be displayed under some big lights.
Yeah, 3-0 Bourne in that game at Polar Park right now. Today's a day in history.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another day to add to the festivities again and the opportunities and what today has in store. But between, you know, the action you see there and where the Yard Goats play too, there's some action the other day as well with Cape League teams, and obviously Fenway Day when you get to, you know, take batting practice out there. I mean, it's really cool the incentives you get when you're up here to, you know, enjoy being in the Cape League aside from playing 44 games and 50-something odd days, or if you're the Chathamays with all the cancellations, it turns into 60-something odd days. But as we get back to the action here, 6th inning underway. Scott Updike back out there, one of the newest Commodores added to the roster. He sees Will Taylor working ahead of him now. Gets one off the end of the bat. Not too shabby from Scott Updike. Getting into it out of Jacksonville, as we talked about a little bit earlier, but for these guys, how ready do you have to be? Some mid-major teams, mid-major players to be ready to get a call for a league like this, Zach? I mean, Scott Updike probably a couple days ago maybe wasn't expecting this opportunity that he's got now.
Yeah, you never know.
Off the end of the bat, Caleb Hall tracking in to find it to help Scout Updike for that first out.
And Updike hasn't really had his summer stop at all. He was with the Sharks in Martha's Vineyard, took the ferry on over, and next thing you know, you're pitching in the same area of the country, but on the Cape rather than on the Vineyard.
That's so cool, too, that there's a team on the Vineyard. I find that real fascinating.
Whole different league over there. NECBL. A lot of good talent in the NECBL as well.
I know a couple of my Arizona State broadcasting friends doing some great work in the NECBL this summer. But some work here to be done for Updike. After finding that first out, he falls behind 2-0 here to Bennett Thompson. The split backstop for the Harbor Hawks, but tonight the designated hitter in the order. Takes that nice breaking ball. To find the first strike from Updike, he works out of the wind. Hung one upstairs just a little bit. Kind of floated in the top part of the zone. But from 2-0, it's 2-2. .23 innings pitched this year at school for the Dolphins of Jacksonville. Putting on his best impression here. Routine ground ball to Eze. It ate him up. Wasn't that routine, but he saved another mistake. He's already got one, unfortunately, and 4 total for the Doors, but none on that play for out 2.
He had time, and he recognized that even with the bobble, was still able to make a good throw.
6-3 on our card for out number 2 from Michael Eze, and now you greet Eric Snow, who reached on one of those 4 errors the last time he was up. Not the better hacks you'll see from a guy of his caliber from South Florida in Eric Snow. That's a nice response. You get that swing, and then you just come back with an elevated fastball in the top part of the zone. And just like that, 1 strike away from a really quick top 6. Breaking ball. And our new home plate umpire, William Bowers, says no. Remember, during that delay, home plate umpire James Fonseca leaving the ball game here, so now it's shifted to a 2-man crew here at the Gov. The 1-2 off the end of the bat, and look at that. Placement against the shift. Eric Snow, a 2-out base hit.
It's not always about hitting it hard, it's about hitting it where they ain't, and Eric Snow does just that.
Travis Bazana and the rest of the infield had a heavy shift to the left side of the infield. Was a ghost town over there. And you present a chance to a big bat in Alex Lane. It was back-to-back errors between Snow and Lane last time. His was a fly ball to straightaway center, not much to it, and Tab Tracy was lining up to get ready to throw on a potentially tagging Eric Snow. And it just popped in and out of his glove. Not much else to say about it. But a new at-bat and a new opportunity here. The 1-0. Got a slider that slid a little too far in. That's why it was popped straight back.
Lane's run right now stands as the difference here. After that Bazana home run, I have to feel like this is a game that Falmouth has a good shot to win, and really got to feel like offensively should be in front with how these pitchers have been.
This one given a good ride out into right. Caleb Hall on 1 foot will make that play. And it falls out of his glove as well, but he caught it, and ruling out over there, it was just saying that it was on the transfer that it popped out of his glove. And Caleb Hall laughing about it on his way in. Ton of high fives for the Doors, who put up a good response there after that 2-out base hit. Still 4-3 for the Harbor Hawks from Falmouth.
Have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball.
Ready to keep going here from the Gov. Good look there in the dugout for the Doors. Good crowd gathered here, too, at the Gov. Ready for the bottom of the 6th inning. There's our answer for you, as it's now nighttime on us here at the Gov. 1939. Yeah, Zach, I think that will work in terms of it being before you and I were born.
Yes, and that game in 1939 was played in Falmouth, but not here at the Gov. The Doors didn't move to the Gov until a couple of decades later. It was played over in Falmouth Heights at the original ballpark of the Falmouth team here in the Cape League. Started out 100 years ago, now still kicking.
First pitch to Michael Eze. Misses to the shortstop of Falmouth tonight. He's reached both times in his 2 appearances, walking the first go around and then a single. Took a hanging slider sharply into left field on one hop to Will Taylor, the left fielder for the Harbor Hawks. David Case back out there for another inning of work here, and Eze, we'll see him for the first time tonight. What's turned into a nice night for baseball here. A little overcast here at the Gov. Cut and a miss on a pitch down in the zone. In there for a strike. Eze not too happy with that call by Will Bowers behind the plate again, getting in there. Bowers was down the first base line.
It's really tough for these hitters and pitchers. They got to adjust to a whole new zone in the middle of the game.
The 2-2. Cut and a miss. Eze look over his shoulder just to see if that one stayed in the mid of Done. And that's that first out. So you present an opportunity now, new chance for Cade Clemens. He's come up in some big spots for the Doors. 2 base runner on situations. Had the double play that ended the 2nd inning for Falmouth, and then a strikeout looking here on the ground. He finds himself out on that go for the 2nd out here quickly in the 6th inning.
Daniel Case, similar to the last time we saw him, he's come out and been really good.
So it's the Gator, Luke Heyman. With now 2 away. Luke had the fielder's choice last time up. It ended the inning. It was interesting. You had to see Eric Snow field that ball in on the infield grass and then dive back to the bag at second. Was just barely out. In that case was Eze. It was a close play to conclude matters back in the 4th inning. But the game's progressed a little bit along since then now. But Falmouth trying to find a way here to battle back. Good response after that 2-run inning back in the 5th. And again, in a 2-0 spot for Case, he gets a big cut and a miss to work himself back into this at-bat. His pitching staff, first in the Cape League in strikeouts. Just saw one there previously. And another step closer towards that there. Check swing, and he did go, according to J.C. Fernandez, who he was down the 3rd base line. Because of the shift in our umpires, he's now the field umpire, and with nobody aboard, will stand at first base. But Heyman empty on that effort, and it's now a 2-2. Gets away from Done. That's that breaking ball, the slider that he likes to use, but down in the zone trying to get Heyman to chase.
I bet he goes back to it here. He's gone to it before in 3-2. It's his best pitch.
Wants to quicken him up, but it misses downstairs. Heyman with a good battle. Seeing some pitches, fighting him off, and now Tab Tracy will be the next man to go.
And Tracy's had good ABs and good swings. Fly out in the 3rd. hit that ball hard on the single back in the 5th. Ended up coming around to score. Falmouth could really use a good swing here.
The roster turnover continuing a little bit here for the Doors, which has allowed a guy like Tab Tracy, who's been here, as you mentioned, since opening day, to see action. His last bit of action was a week ago against his Hyannis team, a game he started in. But since then, had not really seen time. He was dealing, a lot of these guys through summer ball, as Tab rolls one here, foul. Playing every day, guys deal with, tightness or I don't think an injury is kind of the right way to put it, but it's just kind of every day getting different looks and getting different guys in there. And Tab, again, there were 6 outfielders not too long ago on the roster for Falmouth, so what that means is some guys got to, rotate, and Tab now gets his chance. Pitch off the plate here. Makes it 1-2.
Good battle. Good at bat. Seeing the ball well. We talked about his BP earlier. Looked really good. Looking for a ball in the gap here. But any way you can keep this inning alive, you'll take it.
Yanked that one on the slider. Got away from Done, and a free 90 feet for Luke Heyman. So if nothing else, Tab Tracy, if he can find something through here, you could maybe tie the ball game up. All with 2 outs here in this 6th inning.
Heyman's going to have to get a good jump, though. Got good arms all throughout that outfield for Hyannis. Between Taylor and left, Earhart in right, and then Lipsy in center, too. But he's a little deeper, so if you can get something into center, you like what you'll see there.
Tab just chopping the changeup down a little bit there in the zone. And he'll keep fighting here. We mentioned Luke Heyman. He's only stolen 1 base this summer, 2 at school this year. Not the quickest guy in the world. So, again, you'll have to keep an eye if anything gets through here to see if he goes. Just missed. That's a really good take from Tab Tracy.
It's not outside by much, but it is slightly off the plate. Away from right-handed hitter. And Tracy really going to try and pull something into that right center field gap.
Hanging slider there, and Tab does enough to fight it off.
That's a really good pitch. Breaking away from it, and a really good job to spoil a pitch like that. It starts in, maybe even looking like it's inside, and it ends up on the black, on the outside part of the plate.
Big spot here for the Doors, and another full count. Fastball ran in on him, and he pulled it foul. Still working here. Tab fighting off some pitches here. Really impressive. I mean, these guys take cuts every day in batting practice, but to not really see live ABs in a week, and Tab's coming in here and worked a really good outing. A line out to left, a base hit, a sharp base hit. And now this battle here that comes up empty, and you can see from Tab's reaction, he wanted that one. Tracy comes up empty, and Heyman's 2-out walk is left on the bag at second. We're through 6. The visiting Harbor Hawks still up by 1.
I'm called the boards. My name's Evan O'Toole. Hi, this is Travis Fazzana from Oregon State University, and I'm going to be drawing our Beaver logo. I'm going to be drawing the Raging Cajuns logo. And I'll be drawing the Oklahoma State logo. Bad. All right, this is what I got. This is terrible, but it would have helped if we had some orange, but.
Booth, Matt Venezia, alongside Zach Serdenik. We've heard from Destiny Sanchez a little bit. Kind of a weird broadcast with that brief delay. We had Scott in here a second ago, but you want to see if the Doors can kind of come back from the mishaps that happened earlier. But again, anytime you've got this 1 through 9, you always have a shot.
You do, and you've got 3 innings to work with, only down a run. So we always say here, when you're trailing, you want to give yourself a chance by bringing the tying run to the plate. Well, down a run, the tying run's going to be at the plate. Just have to keep it there, and Cassius Thomas is going to have to continue what he's done over his last couple of outings in terms of finding the zone and continue to locate as well as he can.
Cassius Thomas, we saw him in the Orleans game last time, was definitely locating the strike zone a little bit more. Had the ball put in play a lot on him, but to be fair, who didn't? I mean, that was an outing where the Firebirds were just teeing off on Falmouth, and he gets another opportunity here tonight since that last outing.
Looking for him to throw strikes. He's got a really good breaking ball that he gets to use when he's able to locate the fastball. So the key is finding the fastball in the zone and getting ahead in counts for Thomas.
There were 14 hits in that outing. The last Door loss in that tough go, 13-3 here at the Gov a few days back. The Firebirds to this point have been red hot, clinching a playoff spot. Currently, got to keep an eye on the rest of the Cape League in terms of the East standings, but YD losers today. So you have a chance, you know, if Orleans can win a ball game tonight, you're suddenly only 1 point back with 2 to play.
And they're locked in a tight one with Harwich right now, 1 apiece between the Firebirds and the Mariners.
So Cassius Thomas will toe the rubber now for the Doors after Scout Updike got you a nice little several bits of innings there, went 1.2. To now give the opportunity here to the hard-throwing right-hander out of Duke.
Didn't find it for a strike there, but there's the off-speed stuff. You can play off of that when you get ahead with the fastball like he did just there. He's going to be so much more effective when he's able to do that.
Yanked the fastball there out of the reach of Heyman in towards that right-handed batter, rather the left-handed batter's box, but nonetheless, it's Elijah Hainline was able to have that ground ball out to Eze, which brought in a run. And hang on. That one up and in. A little too close for comfort there, and it's 3-1.
Nine-hitter at the plate. Don't want to let him on the base paths for free.
This one gets away. To lead off walk against Cassius Thomas. Hainline able to get on for the first time tonight. And now you go back to the top of the order. Zach Earhart, in 3 appearances today, has reached on a couple of different E6s to our card here. Still have the ability to roll that ground ball. Help out Cash Thomas here as the base runner already reaches. Going on first move, but then halting was Elijah Hainline there. He gets back. Wanted to maybe see his new buddy, soon to be in Oregon State, with Bazzana going over there to cover the bag at second. They talked a little bit during batting practice today. Jammed him on one here, and his buddy, in this case Bazzana, will make that play. Hainline's got to go back on that pop fly. That's how you utilize that inner fastball. You get guys to get jammed.
When it's coming off of Thomas's right arm, it's in the low to mid-90s. That's a really tough pitch to turn on if you're Zach Earhart. He tried to do so and just got nowhere near enough of it.
Nice work by Cassius Thomas to find that. We've seen him now for a little over 5 innings of work this summer. 7 punch-outs to his credit so far. Something that he certainly lives by. He's got some of the hottest stuff here on the Cape, no doubt about that. Was able to show it off a little bit as well. His freshman campaign at Duke, earning the opportunity here up here in the Cape League. 6 appearances, 3.38 ERA for Cash. Hainline goes now. The throw takes Eze into the second base side. He may have thought he got the cleat of Hainline.
I think he got the cleat. The question is, did he get it beforehand? And I think it's a closer play than maybe you might think.
Well, between Zach Earhart and Elijah Hainline, that's where the majority of the stolen bases have come from. Those guys combined, 3 of them. With only 1 out. Run in tying position. Scoring position, rather. And Cassius taking good advantage of that, just wanting to keep him close. But it is Trey Lipsy now. Another chance there for Hainline wanting to go on a hit and run, and now the count moves to no balls and 2 strikes.
Hainline had that bag stolen. That's not fun as a base runner. Have to head on back there. He was going to be in there. He got a really good jump and had a big lead.
10 stolen bases for him this year at Washington State with the Cougars out in the Pac-12. The 0-2. Just up and away. Tried to work him backwards with that fastball. Four to 3, the Harbor Hawks, 4 runs on just 3 hits. 2 errors against their line. Hainline is going now. It's a little bit low, and it's in and out of Luke Heyman's mitt there. Hainline, another good jump there, but Heyman certainly had a couple of steps forward there and just couldn't get it out of the glove.
Even if he did, I don't know that he would have got Hainline. That jump was so good. He was timing that off of what the shortstop Eze was doing. Thomas gave him one look. Eze got behind him, and then Thomas looked back to the plate, and Hainline knew he wasn't getting another look.
Runs that pitch low and in. The infield is in now for the Doors. It's shifted more to the right side of the infield. Still out on the grass, though. The Doors have had this look before, trying to keep that 2-run 5th inning more closed down last time. The 3-2, a line drive right to Eze, and he puts it away. And by a hair, Hainline's able to step back in there.
And that is a really close play, but that is also a consequence of having 2 umpires. Because there's nobody over there. J.C. Fernandez having to try and make that call from behind the play. It definitely looked like it was close.
Well, Zach, there's obviously a reason why you had the infield in anyways, but if it was not in on that instance, I think a run might score on that play. Saving a run there. And Luke Heyman maybe just saved a run on that effort right there. That fastball was yanked down. It's a tremendous effort behind the plate.
That would have set up an interesting spot had that gotten by, because with the padding here and with how hard that pitch came in, it may have bounced right back to him.
Big cut and a miss for that first strike. To Ike now. Walked his last time, but was left at first base back in the 5th. We highlighted him as our player to watch for out of Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU in Richmond. The 1-1, big wave and a miss. That's that slide piece. Works real well when the fastball is finding the zone.
It's a really good pitch, and now he's ahead of a good hitter in Ike. Got to put him away.
Would be a good time for a Cassius Thomas 0 on the mound. Can deliver it right here. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 away. Fighting off another pitch, but again, fastball there. And it was located, Zach. It was in a good spot. And Heyman right away pointing back to his pitcher.
He liked it. This would be a lot of momentum if you can get out of it and get your bats back up to the plate.
Slows it down here. Through the reach. It's a long throw for Eze, and they can't pick it. Rolls all the way near the bullpen area. That'll be a throwing error. Once again, the 5th mistake for Falmouth today. Clemens adds his 2nd, unfortunately, and McGregor couldn't come through with the pick on the other end. And it brings in another run.
It's a tough play. There will definitely be an error there. The question is whether it's a hit and then an error or just an error. And they will say it is an error on that throw from Michael Eze. Keeps this inning alive. That's the 5th error.
That is now a new season high, unfortunately, for the Doors. And another one of those runs come in. I mean, you talked about it earlier, Zach, not having a single run be earned tonight against the line of the pitchers for Falmouth. I mean, you had such a good effort from O'Toole, but again, the 4 runs against him, all of them unearned.
And that trend's going to continue, especially with that being ruled an out error. Anything more that comes across this inning is also unearned with 2 away.
And you never want to give this guy a chance when you could have seen him the following inning later with nobody on. But Cash Thomas, good for him to just put it over his head and just get back into the zone. He's able to find it there with that slider. Looks real composed as Cash Thomas. It's really good for Falmouth moving into the postseason to have this arm throwing the way he has tonight, the 0-1. Got it, cut and a miss on a fastball to end the inning. Cash Thomas does his job. Didn't need the infield that time, but another mistake by the Doors allows one more Harbor Hawk run. As we time to stretch, it's 5-3 Hyannis.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats of the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll Doors.
Pretty night for baseball here. Ready to enjoy the lights a little bit more here after that brief little delay. That baseball game here taking us into the later evening now. Kate Obermueller, the pitcher to go now in relief.
Obermueller has had himself a solid summer overall. 2-0 record, 2.40 ERA. The biggest blemish for him in terms of struggles was against the Commodores. He walked 3 the last time these two met. Didn't give up any runs of his own, but he came in and struggled to find the zone a little bit. And Falmouth will take base runners early in this inning. If Hall's able to reach, sets up Pizzana as the tying run again. We already saw what he can do.
That was back on July the 24th, an 8-7 win for the Doors. The first win this season against this Hyannis group. The Harbor Hawks taking all 3 of the contests at McKeon Park, and then both teams splitting action here at the Gov.
Falmouth's going to have to get something going at McKeon Park going into the weekend if they want to keep their season going past this weekend.
That they will. The 0-1. Nice fastball there, low 90s from Obermueller. Remember, we were talking about his delivery, the way he kind of hides the baseball behind his arm almost and kind of just yanks it down from a quarter slot approach.
For Obermueller, it's all about controlling and finding the zone.
That's a pretty pitch right there. Slider just barely getting there on the back door for the first out.
Can't start much better than one batter, one strikeout coming out of the bullpen, and now he's got a real tough test, though.
That he does, and as we mentioned, you want Bazzana to come up in big spots. He can't tie it here, but can certainly put a step in the right direction here like he did on his last go-around. The two-run shot pulled Falmouth to within one. Now the Doors trailing by 2. It's a good lead by Travis Bazzana. Had a base hit prior to the home run and then a ground ball out to second. Overall, a 2-for-3 game. Couldn't quite grab that one as well. It's fouled away. Travis Bazzana today having that conversation with our own Destiny Sanchez at the nice waterfront view there that they have. It should be exciting to see that content come out later this week. That slider against these lefties, such a tough pitch to stay with the whole time. He just looks like a ball the whole way, and that one was won by not a whole lot. Gets a fastball out or third. Can do it multiple ways. We saw the frame job and back-to-back appearances there, and 2 looking strikeouts in a row for Cade Obermueller.
He's coming in to shut the door here. This is a game that would clinch Hyannis as the 2 seed. If they can win this one, Falmouth just needs one of the next 3 to guarantee themselves not being the 4.
We also have to keep an eye on the Bourne Braves because a loss by Bourne without Falmouth doing anything would guarantee the Doors better than that spot. But at Polar Park tonight, a 4-0 lead for the Bourne Braves. It would take Bourne having to win out and the Doors having to lose out for Bourne to flip-flop with Falmouth for that 3 spot. The same thing that the Doors need to do against Hyannis to get the 2 seed.
There was a lot of that coming into tonight. A lot of teams just barely alive for different scenarios in the playoffs. If I had to guess, come Friday, I think it's going to be the same 4 in the same order that it is right now.
I'd be okay with that personally. Get some Chick-fil-A on the way to McKeon Park, the only Chick-fil-A on the Cape there in Hyannis. Should be some good baseball, no doubt, regardless of the matchup. Cut and a miss from Yannick.
Obermueller's filthy today. He was good last time, but he looks really good right now.
The Kettleers winning earlier today to lock up that top spot in the division. As you mentioned, the Harbor Hawks could do some of the clinching of their own here. One hopper to second. Falmouth goes 1-2-3 on a pair of strikeouts, and that ground ball out. We're through 7. The visitors lead by 2. That's a score here. And we just gave you some of the scores around the Cape, and for the rest of them, we send it to Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. A few scores around the Cape. The Kentucky defeated the Brewster 4. The Chatham Anglers defeated the YD Red Sox 6-4. The Harbor Mariners and the Orleans Firebirds are tied 1-1 in the bottom of the 9th, and the Bourne Braves are shutting out the Wareham game 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th. You're watching
Another Commodore debut, the lefty from Boston College. His name is Charlie Kuhn.
Charlie Kuhn had himself a 1-0 season at Boston College, 18 innings pitched for the Eagles, gave up 14 runs, but the kicker that you're going to notice, we talked about control, 24 strikeouts. This year, just 4 walks.
That certainly works. A teammate of Joey Ryan. All of his work out of the bullpen, Kuhn, this year. So both those guys participating under the same instruction and situational work, going in and out of each other, you know, getting the opportunities. And Joey Ryan, the later appearances, obviously, for Falmouth this summer. Haven't seen Joey Ryan in a little bit just because a lot of these outings have been not so close as of late. He's been that save guy in the 9th inning.
Yeah, Ryan hasn't pitched since the All-Star game.
It's been a little while. And if the Doors can make it a little bit closer, I'd have to imagine that he maybe could be a guy we see at some point maybe in that 9th inning.
He's definitely somebody they want for that playoff push.
See Nolan Moore stretching a little bit, using the rubber band work that some pitchers use to get their arms ready to go. He could maybe be used after Kuhn. But nonetheless, the 8th inning begins with the new southpaw for Falmouth, missing for a ball here against Will Taylor. Taylor, the wide receiver, baseball team member as well at Clemson. Sees one in there for a strike from Kuhn.
He was really, really good at Clemson on the baseball side this year, though. 362 average in 62 games played, nearly 80 hits, 16 doubles, near 500 on base percentage.
Nice play over there by Clemens, and he delivers in time. It's been a tough day on the infield for the Doors, but that one right there was pretty for the first out.
It was a real nice play.
Clemens getting in earning his stripes over there with that play. Been on the action yesterday as a defensive replacement for Sean Darnell. And now starting at third base today. But Bennett Thompson now the next man to step in. Walked his first go around. 0 for 2 in there from that right side. Talking about all these scenarios with what to expect for the postseason. One thing's for sure, the offenses have delivered pretty much every time these two have gone at it. Really, Zach, aside from the walk-off loss back in McKeon Park, our second trip there. Besides that, I mean, you look at this Falmouth group rolling into the playoffs, 44 runs over the last 3 games.
They have been really putting them up.
A light flare into left, and hello, Gavin Turley.
Nice job by Turley on the run. That hung up a lot longer than I thought it was going to, and Tab Tracy came sprinting over. He was going to be there to back it up. Wasn't hit hard enough to where if you miss it on the dive, it's going to go by you to the wall. Not as much risk, and Turley doing a nice job to make the grab.
He's got the big pop in his bat and the flash and flare over there defensively. That was a nice play. And if nothing else, showing your teammate, getting his first steps out there, and Charlie Kuhn, we got you, man. We'll help you out there too. Just like that, you've got 2 outs. Two balls and 1 strike now to Eric Snow. Base hit last go around. South Florida Bull. That's a really good pitch. Slowing it down there on that outside third. Looks like a ball the whole way, Zach, and then suddenly you got to react late.
That's exactly what we saw in that swing from Eric Snow.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Back to back. That time, though, it's a back foot slider and a big cut and a miss. To go 1-2-3. Not bad, Charlie Kuhn. Welcome to Falmouth. Now it's time for the Doors bats to pick up the arms today and pick up the defense as well. Trailing by 2. 6 outs left for the Doors to get back in this game.
So come on, guys. Come in. Let me get my boys in here. We got the man with the plan, Luke. He doesn't play around. How'd you feel today? You were a beast behind the plate.
Felt good. Doors are hot. That's all I gotta say.
Doors are hot. Stay hot. You know we stay ready, so we don't got to get ready. Here you go. Parker. He's over there. Parker, come here. Come on, come on. What's up, guys? I'm here with. What's your last name? Coyle. All right, run that back. What's up, guys? It's Big Bird here. I'm here with Parker Coyle. And if you didn't see today, he's a freaking beast, man. How'd you feel out there today?
Man,
my starter got out there. He was giving us some good innings, and the boys rallied with the bats, put up a big 5 spot in the second, and got in there with the lead.
In other words, he just purely dominated. That's just what happened. Make sure you sign him to a free agent deal, whatever you got to do. But he's the man. Thank you. Good job, Park. Appreciate it.
Hey, the mic, Big Bird.
Where the mic? What's going on, guys? It's Big Bird here, and you already know what it is. I'm with the amazing Spiker, man. How you feeling tonight, baby?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, door dub. Yeah, eating cookies. Didn't do anything tonight, but I was a great teammate. So
solid. Them cookies smell good, man. Back up, Destiny. Back up. Let me work. Let me work. All right, Luke, step into the frame, buddy. You were an absolute wall behind the plate tonight. How do you feel?
Good. We got to win. That's all that matters.
That was dry. Cut that. Cat.
Still a little bit left to clean up here at the Gov, but 2 more. And then we think we know who we're going to see. I think we're seeing that team right now. First pitch swinging back to the action, and now 1 away.
Still some finishing touches to be done on that before you can put a Harbor Hawks logo on those games, but it's going to take 1 more Falmouth win or 1 more Bourne loss to do it. Right now, the Doors need a rally. Just 5 outs to work with, and Kate Obermueller has been really good out of the pen.
Setting down 4 consecutive since coming out of the pen here.
Other thing this does, at the very least, give yourself a taste at Hyannis is one of their best bullpen arms. Get to see him before you're almost certainly going to see him in a few days in the playoff series.
Gavin Turley had that one foul. Before the playoffs start, there is an off day on Thursday, August the 3rd. Gives both sides a chance to regather and figure out how you want to go, even give some starters a day off in terms of trying to figure out that rotation of getting ready for the playoff games. Best 2 out of 3 all the way through.
6 games, 9 days. If you can win 6 in that span, you're going to win a title.
Something Falmouth specifically has not done in over 4 decades, but you like the way that this team's been trending, Zach.
You do, and both these teams, they're the 2 hottest teams on the Cape, and they're also the 2 teams with the longest title droughts. Hyannis' last title came back in 1991. Falmouth's been there quite a bit.
Look at all this. Look at all this history we've been a part of, well before our time too. The 2-2 to Turley, fastball up.
Centennial season, all sorts of history to explore. These teams played back in 1923, now playing in 2023.
But it's flown by. Game 42 of 44 this summer. My goodness. The 3-2. Turley leaves it. Has to hop step out of the way. And Michael Eze steps in as that game-tying run.
It's what you're looking for. See if Eze can find something. The fastball is really been the pitch that you're probably going to have to attack for Obermuller, because that slider's been so sharp and he's been putting it in good spots, hasn't been leaving it much. If Eze gets a fastball to hit, I'd like to see him try to drive one into the gap.
Michael Eze, just foul, trying to get it down the right field line. Eze hitting every contest since arriving for Falmouth. That's a stretch of now 4 games, dating back to that fantastic welcome back party that he had at Lowell Park. 27-2 victory for Falmouth. Some of the craziest baseball I know you and I have ever laid our eyes on.
It was ridiculous.
Fastball outer third. That's a good leave by Eze.
It's a good pitch, too. Just off the plate. But Eze showing that he's seeing the ball well, not swinging at a pitch like that, especially in a 1-strike count. You don't really have to protect. There's not a ton you can do with it, especially if you're not looking for it. You don't want to get out and roll it over.
That's that slider that you got to be wary of, and it's going to stay in play. Alex Lane finds the second out.
It's such a tough pitch to square up because it's got so much movement. It's all late movement. It starts like it's kind of floating, and then it just snaps back. It's definitely less than ideal.
Well, you've got one of the newer bats. It's got a lot of pop in there. Wouldn't be a bad idea to show it off in this spot right here. Cade Clemens from Pittsburgh State finds a fastball inside third for a strike. Clemens 0 for today. But to talk about those numbers, second for the Gorillas in slugging this year, 717. Hit 18 over the fence. Stands in there as a game-tying run. Got one over the plate there. Heads up, Falmouth dugout. And he's behind no balls and 2 strikes.
Not the spot you want to be against a guy that's been spotting himself really well. But you still get a shot. That's why you get 3 of them.
Cut and a miss. Obermuller, after that walk, has put up 2 scoreless in relief against the Doors. Falmouth, you got to keep it where it is to give your bats a shot. Falmouth's going to need at least 2 before this one's all said and done here at the Gov. Get to see the lefty, Nolan Moore, with the duties for the 9th inning. Moore's been pretty solid over his last couple for the Doors here, Zach.
He has been. His last appearance came against Orleans in that tough loss a few days ago back on the 26th, and he went 1 inning in that game, gave up no runs, just 1 hit for him. Overall, he's got a save. That came also in a big game, a 13-3 Falmouth win. He went the last 3 innings, got the save. But overall, he's been pretty good. Just 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, only 2 runs allowed.
Nice start here for him, though. Tried to work backwards there. He's got that sink fastball tailing away from Alex Lane, but he left it there.
Doesn't throw too hard, but spots his stuff really well.
That works. He slowed it down there. That wasn't hard at all, but it did the job. On the changeup, gets a swing and a miss for strike number 1. Strikeout number 1.
It'll work. And you set that up by throwing the fastball in the same spot the pitch before, and then you go right back to the area, but you got him way out in front of it because he's looking for that heater.
Zach, the Harbor Hawks don't strike out at all. That was just the 4th tonight. As this one's flared into right. Long run for Caleb Hall, and it's out of his reach. They don't strike out at all. The least amount in the Cape League, and just 4 tonight against a pitching staff that really holds himself accountable to doing that.
The Harbor Hawks utilize the strikeout really well. They don't strike out a ton. Offensively, they strike out more than anybody else on the mound. You'll take that every day.
Off the end of the bat, that's going to get down. Sounded like a broken bat there, just a little bit off the end. But nonetheless, Hainline, he's been all over the bases today, Zach. Finds his way on. The last time he was aboard, swiped 2nd and 3rd. Now Nolan Moore. At least he faces him here, though. You get to see him try to keep tabs on him here with 1 away.
Hyannis, a team that doesn't steal many bases this year. They had 40 entering tonight. They have 5 tonight. That's just over 12% of their season total done tonight.
Zach Earhart tried to lay one down there. He, too, has been part of that stolen base number. He's got 3 of them himself.
Yeah, all the stolen bases have been between the 9 and 1 hitters.
That goes back to us saying that sometimes teams will have a guy in the 9 spot act as that second leadoff batter.
That's exactly what you've seen from Hainline since he got to Hyannis. You can usually tell a lot of those guys that score a lot more runs than they drive in, and that's the prototype that Hainline has been for the Harbor Hawks. 16 runs scored, just 6 RBIs. Earhart, he's been a bit of both. He's got 21 runs, but he also has 17 runs driven in.
Elevated the fastball there, and Earhart just a little behind it. Quickly, 0-2 back-to-back hitters that Nolan Moore has seen. He's gotten them in this spot. Rather, the 2 outs, I should say. The strikeout to begin the inning. Now you've got a chance here. The 0-2. That one hung a little bit, and it's put down into right. We got back-to-back base hits with Trey Lipsy stepping in.
It's kind of just been how the night's gone for Falmouth. Neither of those balls hit particularly hard, but they find grass.
It's a left-on-left situation here.
On a tough night, if Falmouth's not able to come back here at the end of this game, you'd rather have this type of game against the Harbor Hawks now than this weekend. You're going to get a shot to see these guys again, more than likely, in a 3-game series where everybody's 0-0.
Double steal is on. Heyman wants the long way. Is it in time? Yes, it is. That's a massive second out for the Doors and a really good throw from Luke Heyman.
And what happens there is, in summer ball, more often than not, these guys aren't getting signs to steal. They're going when they see something. So the first runner, Hainline, sees something, gets a good jump and goes. The second runner, the trail runner at first, doesn't get as good of a jump because they don't know they're going. They have to wait for Hainline to go and then try to react. And Heyman does a nice job of recognizing that and throwing it down to second base, trusting himself and his fielders so that he can get the out there.
And almost, do you think Earhart's expecting the throw to go behind to the trail runner in that instance?
Not usually.
Well, how about that? The situation alters drastically in the favor of the Doors. You throw them out, and then you get them looking. Nolan Moore does a nice job. His defense helps strand the runner at third. But now the Bats have one last go at it, trailing 2.
The Falmouth Commodores have been part of the heartbeat of Falmouth since 1923. Thousands of fans flock to Gov Fuller Field each season to see future Major League ball players working to reach their dreams. All of this wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. As a nonprofit volunteer organization, the Commodores raise funds to cover operational costs. Fans support the local businesses who back the Commodores. It's what community is all about. There are so many ways we incorporate our sponsors into the fun, whether it be banners, print ads in our program, mentions on public address and broadcast, as well as in-game experiences. So however you support the Falmouth Commodores, we thank you.
The Doors in the dugout looking on here. It's a new picture on the mound, but hang on, Zach. The last time we were here in this booth, the Doors found a way to win. It was by walk-off fashion. That same thing would have to occur if the Doors want to be on the side of the victory.
It would, but they're going to have to do so against a really tough arm in J.B. Middleton. He's been lights out for the Harbor Hawks this summer. 5 appearances. He's 1-0 with a save and a 1.22 ERA. Got a chance at save number 2 tonight. Normally sports number 34 you see tonight in number 20.
It only makes us do a little bit more here in the booth when guys have different numbers, but that's okay. 8-9-1 due up for Falmouth here, trailing by 2 as we begin the 9th inning.
If you can get some guys on and get Bazana up, as well as Walker Yannick, who's due for a real good swing, you're going to have a shot.
Middleton using the outer third to get ahead here, 0-2 quickly on the Florida Gator. No hits for him today, but 0 of 2. Had a walk last time up. Worked a good full count at bat. Thought about it here. A late check down, and J.C. Fernandez says no, he did not.
Good hold.
Middleton, as you mentioned, going for the save here. Out of that wind. Heyman keeps fighting. Will Bowers, home plate umpire, needing some new baseballs here. But Middleton, 1.22 ERA. Doors haven't seen him yet this year. That's a good lead downstairs, too, by Heyman. This is that situation of a bloop and a blast. I mean, you have that tying run available in that on-deck circle.
Good job to work him. Middleton struggled at Southern Miss this year. Batting average against over 300 for the Golden Eagles, but it's under 100 for Hyannis. Been a big flip.
By the reaction there, that one was a close one. And Heyman walks back looking.
That's tough. Thought you had first base, and instead got to head back to the dugout.
So now that situation still looms. Tying run in the on-deck circle. But it is not Tab Tracy. He's in there now. Standing in as the run that makes it a 1-run deficit. His swings earlier in batting practice. You'd like to see one of those here right now. Did so, but came up empty. Tab, again, his first start in a week. It was against this same Hyannis team. Rolls one foul there. Tab went 2 for 3 in that game, had a double. A run driven in, worked a walk as well. Much more productive effort than today's card shows. Just 1 for 3.
He's got a chance to be 2 for 4. If he can come through here with a hit. Just want to find a base runner any way you can in this 9th inning. Get yourself the tying run to the plate and see what can happen.
Caleb Hall right now stands in as that tying run. He's in the on-deck circle.
There's also the added effect that if you do get a base runner on, the tying run is going to be either Bazana or Yannick at some point throughout. Oh, it'd have to be Bazana.
Not yet. That one's up there at 95. Tracy strikes out with Falmouth down to its final out.
What do they got left?
Well, we can't talk about Bazana just yet because it comes down to this guy right here, Caleb Hall, finding a way on base. It's a good leave by Caleb Hall. In that walk-off win, Hall worked himself a good day, 2 for 3. Had a run scored. He fouls one off here. Was in the leadoff spot yesterday. Went 1 for 5. Picked up an RBI at Dorn Park. That 9-2 win for Falmouth. Different outcome here tonight, though. Got to pick a spot and maybe just try to get one here. You don't want to let Middleton settle himself in. And it's kind of been what it's looked like here, Zach, in this 9th inning. He's been smooth sailing.
He has been, and this game's going to hurt if Falmouth can't pull off crazy turn of events here with 2 outs, because you got yourself 3 runs, and when your pitchers pitch the way they did today and don't give up any earned runs, it's a game you feel like you should have won.
I mean, Evan O'Toole gave you everything today. But 4 runs against his line, none of them earned. Cassius Thomas, a run given up, not earned. Then you had scoreless efforts from new man Scout Updike and Charlie Kuhn. Certainly one of those games, Zach, no doubt. But you'd like to have them now, then when they matter this weekend, most definitely, almost certainly against this same Hyannis group. But we're not done here just yet. It's a 3-1 count here to Caleb Hall. Hitter-friendly opportunity with Bazana waiting on deck. And Travis will step in as the game-tying run with that 2-out walk.
Well, here you go. Give yourself a look. This is who you want up.
For those wondering, Travis Bazana was the game-winning run against the Gatemen in that walk-off the last time we were here. So the last time he was in a big, big moment like that, he came around to score. It was a Barry Walsh walk-off 2-run single into right field.
After a Travis Bazana bunt single.
And he stole second base.
Yes, he did.
So a little bit more to do before he can get on base here. Fastball up and away. It's a good leave by Bazana. And he's ahead 2-0.
Walker Yannick's on deck. He's got a lot of pop.
Two balls and no strikes. Bazana leaves it upstairs. And Middleton was rolling. And now he's run into some turbulence here behind 3 balls and no strikes. Yannick awaits on deck as the game-winning run. At least thought about it for a second. The slider stays down. And now you have the tying run on base. Anything into the gap. And this could get exciting.
Especially with Bazana's speed and 2 outs. If Yannick finds a gap, this game's going to be tied.
So now it's the Bearcat Walker Yannick. A good season for Yannick, especially since getting promoted into this spot in the order where he is now. There's Caleb Hall, 2-out walk in a 3-1 count, has him at second. Travis Bazzana right behind him. 4-pitch walk for him, and now JP Middleton able to find the zone on a questionable call there that I don't think he was too happy about. It's very interesting to see Done relax there behind in the crouch, down to just one knee, and picking that out of the ground, Zach. Anything gets by, and the tying run standing on second. The 1-1.
Just tells you about Done's comfortability in his picking skills. He feels good about being able to keep that one in front of him.
You see it a lot with nobody on base, sure.
It's the new style of catching. A lot of guys are like that.
2 balls and 1 strike. That's a really good take by Walker Yannick. And the last 3 batters for Falmouth have seen 3-ball hitter-friendly counts. All of it with 2 out.
And there is an arm quickly warming up in the bullpen for Hyannis.
Strike 2. Runners are on the move. With the game-winning run at the plate. Hyannis needing 1 strike. And the Doors threatening. Off the plate. 3 straight walks with 2 away. There are Commodores on every base here in this 9th inning.
Let's see if they leave in Middleton. Let's rock.
Grab your popcorn. This is what you look forward to. First pitch swinging, it gets through into left. Bazzana getting the wave. He will come in to score. With 2 outs, Falmouth has tied it.
What about that approach from Tyler McGregor? 3 straight walks before you, and you're confident enough to swing on the first pitch. And he finds himself a base hit. Just like that, Turley could walk this thing off with a single.
What a spot for Tyler McGregor to find his 20th and 21st runs driven in on the summer. We're brand new at 5. And as you mentioned, Gavin Turley steps in. Yannick's got some decent speed. Stole 10 bags at Sam Houston State this year. Here we go. Locates a slider for strike number 1. 4 consecutive have reached, all with 2 out. And the Doors have tied this game up. Big cut by Turley. And it's 0-2.
It's been such a big flip. J.B. Middleton looked locked in. He struck out the first 2 he faced.
3 walks later and a Tyler McGregor game-tying single have us right here, right now. The 0-2, swing and a miss. The Harbor Hawks stave off of a walk-off loss for now, but not before the Commodores find the equalizer. The second time in as many home games over this stretch. We need more baseball, and we've got it for you. Stay with us. It's getting exciting here at the Gov. We've got more baseball for you because the Commodores put up 2 in the bottom half of the 9th inning, all with 2 out. First pitch swinging as a long throw. It takes McGregor off the bag. Trey Lipsy stayed put at second. That's where he stays. But coming back to your recliner there to catch this extra inning baseball, well, another base runner aboard to begin.
Yeah, that's a really, really tough throw. You almost would like to see Eze eat that ball because he's almost certainly not going to get Ike there, and the risk is much greater than the reward. Nice job by McGregor to come off the bag and use all of that frame to keep it from getting by him and hold those runners.
Nolan Moore is back out there for another inning of work. Gets the previous doors off the hook with the help of his offense now, but he's the man of record here now. Going up against the big bat of Brody Done. Feels like a long time ago, but a 2-run home run back in the first inning. Part of the offensive efforts from Hyannis here tonight. He sends it straight back. Soon to be Gator behind no balls and 2 strikes. Excitement here at the Gov, and whatever the outcome is tonight, it's a massive cliffhanger into what's supposed to be what you would think the 2 going head-to-head in the postseason's first round later this weekend. Curveball, got him looking. Nolan Moore finds a nice time to bring that one out. That's his 3rd strikeout.
If you were wondering whether you wanted to tune into this series this weekend, if this doesn't convince you, I don't know what will. These 2 teams are so much fun to watch when they go at it. They both fight. It's going to be a fun weekend.
So we were mentioning all the clinching scenarios. One that now we'll introduce is that if this game ends in a tie, both teams obviously earn a point. Both teams would lock themselves in the 2 seed and the 3 seed. That's Hyannis and Falmouth respectfully. So if this game ends knotted up, we know that it will be Falmouth versus Hyannis at McKeon Park Friday evening in Game 1 of the first round's West playoffs. We think we'll learn that anyways over the next day or so, but take what you want with that. You got Will Taylor in the box. Ahead of the count 2-0. Nice job dropping the curveball in, and you see Will Taylor there, and just to the left behind the mask of Luke Heyman, that's the Commodore Slayer himself, Cam Smith, in the on-deck circle as a pinch hitter.
You really want a ground ball here.
Fastball, outer third, won't get there. And it's 3-1. There are no arms in the Falmouth pen right now. But that is not a bat that you like to see. But we'll probably see him this weekend, no doubt. The 3-1. Hung the curveball. Got the zone, did Nolan Moore. For the 2nd strike.
You wonder if they might put these guys in motion here. Lipsy's really quick, and that way you can protect against the double play ball.
Yanked this one, and it was pulled foul. It went a long way.
It was loud.
Will Taylor right there nearly put up half a touchdown with that swing there, did the wide receiver from Clemson. 3-run shot. Was close there. The 3-2 went up the ladder and came up empty. 4 of them for Nolan Moore. 2 away.
Well, I know you told the people earlier, but I'm going to remind them. If they didn't get the popcorn out before, you better get it out. You better get on the edge of your seat because, boy, have we got a fun one right now.
The infield into chat because of the man stepping in now, the All-Star. Home run hitting contest selection in the Cape League's All-Star festivities. And we mentioned the Commodore Slayer. It is Cam Smith.
Cam Smith has homered in each of his last 3 meetings against Falmouth. He's met the doors all 5 times. This is his 6th appearance against Falmouth. He's got multi-hit games in each of his last 3 and has scored a run in all 5.
You didn't get that ground ball, but at least you give him one less base runner to have in his opportunity here. And Nolan Moore starts him with a breaking ball, strike one.
The one thing I will say about it, with the exception of the McCarroll slider that Smith hit, he's been hunting fastballs for his home runs. Nolan Moore doesn't throw that hard, and he locates really well. That's what you're looking to see.
Showed him the heater, but it's off the plate.
And that's how you start him. You go off speed in the zone, throw the fastball up and away, get him thinking about it, and then you go back to an off-speed pitch here.
Cam Smith leads this team in hits, average, pretty much everything. Gets a chance here, but he's caught looking once again. Nolan Moore's got him where he wants him. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was a leadoff infield single for Brandon Ike. Didn't allow Lipsy to move. The runner, you get an extra inning standing at second. And back-to-back strikeouts with a chance at one more. The 1-2, wave and a miss! Pulled the string, and Nolan Moore walks off the mound with 5 strikeouts over his last 3. Nolan Whitaker, rather Evan, excuse me, will try to do similar to Nolan Moore. Coming in now, the Hoosier, trying to take care of the doors here. But Falmouth tonight, for the time being, has earned itself at least an opportunity at third place.
And have now locked in this matchup. This will be the playoff matchup. Katuitt clinched the 1. There's still an outside chance that Falmouth could host and have home field advantage, but these two will be playing in the first round on Friday night.
Don't you like all these clinching scenarios and how things will work out?
Sure will be a lot simpler on Friday.
That is true. Very true. Turley the man at second. Eze's in the box. Shows bunt right away and gets it foul. If you're just joining us, Falmouth, Luke Heyman and Tab Tracy, strikeout victims in the bottom of the 9th, down 5-3. 3 consecutive walks to Caleb Hall, Travis Bazzana, and Walker Yannick. And then McGregor's first pitch, a 2-run single to tie it up. And that's where we remain now after the Doors put up a 0 in that top of the 10th. It's a 1-1 count to Eze. Showing bunt again. It's a good take. Makes it 2-1. You see the bunt being shown now. Nate Humphreys is awaiting on deck. Should Eze not be able to bring in Gavin Turley on this move here, but showing that bunt, he might just be trying to move him. He popped it up, and no one can get there. Falmouth just dodged a bullet.
They did, and Eze's going to have a chance to swing. You couldn't get the bunt down, but you can still put the ball in play. Have to find a way. Cannot be an unproductive out. That's what we saw 3 of in a row issued by Nolan Moore with the strikeouts. See if Falmouth can pick him up.
It is a 2-2 count now for Whitaker on the mound. Eze fights that one off, got jammed on it foul. This game has had it all. Had a brief delay earlier on. We've had a combined 7 errors. We've seen the home run ball. We've seen some late tying moments, all coming down to right now. Whitaker, a look at Turley. Delivers. Left it down. The whole Falmouth dugout up on its feet right now, rooting on Eze here.
I don't know that I've heard this place as loud as it's been in the 9th and 10th innings all season long.
And still a good crowd here at the Gov to take it all in. The full count pitch. Fastball away. There was an open base. It sets up Hyannis a chance at a force play at any of the bags in on the infield, but now Nate Humphreys with the pinch hit chance here will step in.
Humphreys has been seeing the ball really well. A lot of walks recently. I was joking with him earlier when the lineup came out and he wasn't in it. I said, hey, you won't work a walk today. Well, he's got a chance. He's open for something better than a walk, but the irony would be fun for him if he does work another walk.
Hyannis pitching coach out for a conversation now, trying to calm down Whitaker and maybe just set up a situation here.
The crowd doesn't like it.
But the important thing that Zach said earlier, it is Hyannis versus Falmouth in the playoffs. We just don't know who will have home field advantage.
And even if Falmouth does win this game, that still sets up a situation where Hyannis would have to lose their next 2 and Falmouth has to win the next 2 to make that flip happen.
And the important nugget for that, too, is while even if Hyannis were, there's still a possibility that Falmouth could have the same record at the end of the year as Hyannis, but because Hyannis at that point would have won the majority of the contest, the tiebreaker goes to the Harbor Hawks.
Yes, it does. But a win here helps give you some momentum going into that playoff stretch. The crowd really now not liking this meeting. It took a little bit for Will Bowers to break up that when he was out there for a few, but here we go.
The Harbor Hawks took the first 4 matchups, including all 3 at McKeon Park. The last time a week ago that Hyannis was here, the Doors an 8-7 victor. And now this final matchup of the season might be the best of them all. First pitch, fastball up and in. Humphreys was showing bunt. Maybe trying to get the chance to move on over to Luke Heyman, who's in the on-deck circle.
Welcome to the ball game. Enter in and you get low 90s up and in on the first pitch.
Corners are in. Oh my. They've called a balk on Evan Whitaker. And now a bunt could do it. I don't think you do, but wow.
And he worked a walk.
An intentional walk to Nate Humphreys out of that.
I want to talk about that balk. A lot of times something like that happens when you see movement. And what happened there, Whitaker's looking at second base, and the shortstop, Hainline, runs away to try and get out of the way, and that movement may have caused a flinch.
Now Zach Earhart from right field is coming into basically the second base natural position. The entire infield is in, and you're having the outfield shift all over the place. Good job by our crew to get you this shot. There are going to be 5 infielders in now with the obvious play at home. And now you have a left center fielder and a right center fielder.
We saw this in the majors a couple of weeks ago. Luis Arraez was at the plate. Colorado used this. It didn't work for them.
Good take on the slider away from Luke Heyman. Strike 1.
I don't know if it was completely intentional, but taking a strike there, not a bad idea with the bases loaded.
You got speed in Turley, too. Anything that gets by Done could do it as well. Cut and a miss. The Florida Gator has a chance to be the hero. He led off the 9th inning with a looking strikeout. Could make up for it right here. His teammate soon to be at Florida, Brody Donay, keeps that one in front. We're going to have some fun baseball this weekend, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
2-2. Fouled straight back. There's the defensive alignment for the Harbor Hawks. 5 infielders, 3 of them on the left side, 2 on the right. That's a good leave, and now you have absolutely nowhere to put them. Ball 4. And the Doors have come all the way back.
A walk-off walk for Falmouth. No walk-offs in 4 years for the Doors. And now 2 in the last 3 days.
Hyannis 5, Falmouth 6. The Commodores will be back in action at Gulf
My goodness.
on Wednesday, August 2nd.
The fireworks saved for the end here. In a walk-off walk. And the Falmouth Commodores, we learned about 10 minutes ago, have clinched a matchup with the Harbor Hawks. But there's still a good shot, Zach. That matchup could start here at the Gov. It would take Falmouth needing to win its last 2 against Harwich tomorrow and Katuitt to close out the season. Meanwhile, the Harbor Hawks, the rest of the way, are hosting the Gatemen tomorrow. And then they'll go to Doran Park. And I'll tell you what, you got an opportunity. If Wareham can find a way to play competitive baseball, Zach, at Hyannis, we might be in for some excitement on Game 44.
Well, can't wait to see what happens. Should be fun, man. I'm excited.
A cliffhanger for the ages, looming into a now certain, a going to happen, nothing to avoid it, matchup on Friday against the Harbor Hawks. The Commodores take the last 2 against Hyannis, this time a walk-off win. And we'll get to do it all again with this group in just a couple of days. The crew right there helped make it all happen across all levels of Falmouth Commodores, across the social handles and live streaming opportunities there. Our videographers did a great job. McKenna Wall, Laura Schroeder, and Scott Samancha capturing it all. For video director Ellie Fideli, assistant director and Audrey Glenn. Destiny Sanchez reporting for us downstairs. And on the broadcasting duo, my partner Zach Serdenik. I've been Matt Venezia saying so long and good night, and we hope you join us tomorrow at White House Field in Harwich when the Doors try to keep this thing rolling. With a date with the Mariners, we will see you then.